Started with time for technical difficulties. Thanks for that, Lathian. So I'm here with Peter Evil Eye. You want to
That's
say?
me.
Yeah. So Peter Evil Eye is our guest host for this episode of the stream, and I've told Peter that I'm not sure if this is going to work because I'm doing it on like my non-standard, not on my standard internet connection, and I've tried to do
Yeah.
this before and it failed spectacularly. So hopefully it doesn't fail this time.
Yeah. I'd say bonjour, Lathion.
Bonjour.
I do not speak a word of French, I must warn you.
Oh, you know what that means, though.
I do indeed. It means goodbye. No, of course. No, I'm not quite that uncultured, but yeah. Also, is that the Death Leap you've been working on?
Yes. So
He's...
as I'm away from my standard workshop this week, I thought I would use it as an opportunity to work on something different. And
Yeah.
I've been really excited to get back to this guy because for a long time I was trying to focus on the Dom just to like get it done and out of the way. But yeah, it feels good to have like a palette cleanser sort of to be working on something different.
Yeah.
And also this is a project that I was very excited about, but I kind of left it on the back burner for a while, and I'm just really glad to be able to get back to it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I'm really liking the look at the. I really like how you've turned the high tyrant wings into long, gangly talons. I actually think that's a really clever.
If nothing else comes out of this conversion, I think it's going to be this bit that I had not looked at tyrant wings as anything other than wings, and I can't explain it, but for some reason, winged tyranids don't really do it for me. So I had hive tyrant wings, and I had no plans to use them because, well, they're hive tyrant wings. But yeah, I was just looking for something that could be like long, gangly upper arms on a Lictor, and I had previously considered the Tyrannifex arms, but they're just like really beefy. Like they're a lot thicker than the hive tyrant wing arms, and you've only got the two sections of them, whereas this one is like the standard like one,
Sorry.
two, and then
Unless,
yeah.
Of course, I was going to say, unless you were, and this is really going to annoy you unfortunately, but unless you were to cut the 4 section off and use that as the end section of the thing.
This section here, the 4 section with the claw, you mean? With the
No, I mean if you like the forearm of that limb, if you use that and used it as the whole kind of like, I don't know, I might not be explaining this very well.
So
what? If you cut it at what would be his elbow,
yeah,
and then use that as the bit which you're currently cutting the sliding talon into for the...
Yes, that would work. It's very large though, and especially if I mounted it on the Tyrant arm, it feels very big. And then the I don't know if I can pull up the sketch here, but the sketch that I'm working from is a Roberto Cirillo sketch that I want it to be kind of similar to that. Here, let me see if I can pull it up. It's going to be not as fancy as normal. One sec. Yeah, and he's got kind of in his version of it, it looks like it's got a Lictor talon look, but it also kind of looks like a pincer. And then it also, the way I interpreted it, it looks like the end of it could like fire off.
Almost like a sort of flesh hook / grappling hook type thing.
Apparently, my Roberto Cirillo sounds like Return to Gorilla, says Lathian.
Yes. Oh, there we go. It's just so you know, I'm a few seconds behind you on.
Oh no, actually, I think you're pretty close because I just put that up. You mean the picture I'm showing?
Yeah, no, I can see it.
I wonder.
Oh, yeah, but yeah.
Hold on, I'm gonna try something. So I'm gonna tell you when I'm gonna take it away. So I'm taking the photo away now.
Okay, you've just taken it away now.
Okay, so I don't think it's as bad as when we use the streaming software. I think the delay is actually slightly less, faster. Yeah, so the idea here is that if you look at the Roberto one, it's got like the kind of...
Can I just interrupt you for a second to read some of the comments?
Yeah, go for it.
We've got Lathion saying, making me think of Return to Monkey, and Barguest asking, is Return to Monkey based on that heavy metal comic?
I don't know anything about that.
Oh, Return to Monkey, or Return to Monkey, as it should be pronounced. It's a bad meme. It's like, you know the whole modernity, return to tradition. It's taken that step further. Reject humanity, return to monkey.
Oh,
As in, like,
as in evolutionary?
as in evolution, as in, like, let's devolve back to primates and go back and sell off into the jungle.
That is another meme that I'm not familiar with, like the hello, this is dog.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Now I'm familiar with it.
Yeah, but anyway, yes, the Roberto talent now that we've got that slight primeval tangent out of the way. I see what you mean, yeah, with the pincers and the
So
and it does kind of look.
my understanding of it is that, like, I think that this part on the end could, like, fire off. I mean, it could just be another talon, but I think it would be really cool if that was like a super flesh hook that could, like, fire out and grab something and pull it back, and then these lower talons kind of seize around it and drag it in.
Yes. Well, it's funny you mentioned that because I was just thinking about this before we started streaming.
Yeah.
Screaming then. I'll talk to that.
Hopefully not, but we'll see how the technical difficulties go.
Yeah, and I was just thinking about this. With a triple sectioned arm like that, the third segment of the limb, so to speak, would actually be made from the fused hand and finger bones rather than just another long bone.
Yeah.
At least if it's going anything by what we think of as anatomy.
Yeah.
So that would actually make quite a lot of sense in terms of anatomically how Roberto's done his thing. So you'd have the two pincer fingers in effect at the base there.
Yeah.
And then you have the longer ones fusing into the long shooty out fletching hook or just spear at the end.
Yeah. Well, Roberto's a pretty smart guy, so that's probably where he was going from.
Yeah. Also, Latvians left something for you for after the stream, apparently.
Oh, it's probably the meme.
Yes, probably, almost certainly. But yeah, no, this is looking like a really promising concept.
Thanks.
I like it. Yeah. I also like how because I was initially thinking, oh, that's cool, he's used the talon to on the end of the thing, but you've gone a step further and you're using the talon just to get the basic carapace plate on there, so that's even cooler.
Yeah, knowing me, I'm probably going to sculpt over it all, but we'll see.
We'll see. Hopefully not full Hyrule dominatrix. Speaking of that dominatrix, by the way,
Yeah.
Obviously, as you've probably been aware from our sort of gushing on the streams over how amazing it is, I'm absolutely in love with it at the moment.
Thanks.
Which is good, 'cause it's nearly finished.
God, I hope so.
Yeah, I certainly hope so. And I'm actually not sure what my favourite bit of it is. Probably the tail, to be honest, because that tail is just absolutely amazing.
Oh, cool. Like, you mean the tail tip with the blades and all that?
Yeah, the big, like, hooked tail club thing. That thing is just brilliant.
So, you have Charles, the guy who commissioned me to make the dominatrix. You have him to thank for that, because he really wanted... I think I wanted to have, like, a scythe tail, because that's kind of, like, my go-to. But, he really wanted it to be more of, like, a mace than just a scythe tail. And wanted it to really look like it could... Like, no matter which way the thing swung it, it was going to do some damage.
I understand, yeah.
So, like, he wanted it to, like... Because I always think, like, side to side for some reason when I'm thinking about Tyranid tails, like, slashing, like, horizontally. But he's like, what if this thing, like, gave a Titan an uppercut with its tail? Like, what would it impale the Titan on? I'm like, okay, I guess we need to have some up blades on it. And it's turned out really well because of that.
A bit like the bio-flail that you get with the Stone Crusher kind of.
Yes, yes. So it makes me think more, like, I was picturing, if we're, like, comparing it to a Carnifex, I was picturing doing something like the standard scythe tail, or I guess it's called a thresher scythe or something like that. But,
I know the piece you mean anyway, yeah.
Yeah, I think what he was picturing was more of a mace tail. And I feel like we came into, like, a kind of, we landed in the middle with, like, a mace with, like, big scythy spikes on it. And, yeah, I'm pretty happy with how it turned out.
Yeah, I think it should be. In terms of kind of like actual kind of like weapon analogies, the best example I can think of would be a flanged mace.
Oh, okay.
Which would be,
is that like what the spaghetti vampire has? The new vampire with the spaghetti hair?
Yes, yeah, a bit like that, yeah. So instead of just having... So when they... Obviously, it's an old medieval concept, but when they're building the mace, instead of just having spikes or studs on the head of it, it's got big, almost like fins running... Well, flanges.
Yeah.
And it's effectively kind of like combines the best of both worlds.
Like a mace and an
A
axe or something?
blunt force weapon and a bladed weapon.
Oh,
It's,
nice.
But yeah, of being able to hit it with basically any side of the thing and still being able to do a large amount of damage.
Yeah. And what is that called? That's called a bladed mace? No.
Flanged mace.
Flanged mace.
Yeah.
So you get your
I'll
enemies.
send you a picture, but obviously that's not really going to work given your setup. So.
Well, actually, you can send it to me on Discord. Because I have you open on Discord on my other phone.
Oh, okay, cool.
So I think I can go back to the chat. Yeah, so I have our chat open. So if you want to send anything through, you can send it through there.
Yeah. Okay, no, that's a bit hard. This is the only problem, is when you're trying to find pictures of medieval weapons, it's very hard to find actual ones that aren't just like video game or kind of
Or
reconstructions.
cosplay.
Or cosplay, or that sort of thing, which is cool and all, but when you're trying to, when you're just trying to find a picture of an actual flanged mace, of an authentic one, it can be a bit difficult.
You mean one that isn't Warhammer scaled?
Yes, exactly.
That an actual human?
Yeah, to be fair, a lot of these were quite ornate and decorative. Like, they did make quite gothic-looking things, just obviously not ones with the head being the size of an actual human skull.
Yeah.
But yeah. But anyway, long story short, I really like the mace tail on the
Thank you.
It's really cool design.
I think it's done well to kind of give another point of interest on the tail. Because I was really happy with the dominatrix, the previous dominatrix I did with for Marco, and it had just like a standard scythe tail, and I built that out of a Carnifex head, carapace, but it didn't like it was nice, but it didn't really draw the attention. It wasn't like a focal point. It was just kind of like, oh yeah, and then it ends in a tail over there. But I feel like this tail's a little more interesting.
Yeah, one thing that did occur to me, and I'm not suggesting you do this because I know how much work you put into that thing, but the way you've made the way you've made the tail detachable, you could almost make a bunch of swappable ones.
Oh God, don't say that. Charles might be watching. You might be like, that's a great idea. Let's do it. That would be really fun. That would be really fun. I would love to do it. I just really need this project to be done right now.
Of course, yeah.
But no, that's a good idea, because then also the detachable tail, I feel very proud of it. I feel like it's a real triumph of kind of model engineering, but it was a real pain to accomplish.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, especially because there's no magnets or anything involved, is there?
Yeah, well, the hardest part was less the pinning and more the armor plates overlapping over each other, so that when you fit it, there was like a snug fit.
Yes, they need to lock properly.
Yeah, because like I'm like sculpting putty over this piece, and then I'm like trying to like pull the piece out to make sure that like it still comes out, and the putty's like catching on it and not catching on it, and it was challenging.
Yeah.
But it was good. It was rewarding.
Yeah, if you ever do it again, like something like that, and obviously, like if you ever do another detachable piece.
Yeah, I thought you meant another dominatrix. Like Marco, I think wants me to do another one, but we'll see.
We'll see, yeah. But no, it's maybe coating one side of it in something to stop it from sticking. So
I did, yeah. So I put some Nivea on the side that I was putting in.
I was going to say you can maybe go even a bit further than that. Maybe use like cling film or something.
The problem with cling film is that it doesn't form well to the shape you're and then it leaves like weird ridges and stuff. And Nivea works really well because, like, as we know, Nivea is a very good lubricant to keep putty from sticking to stuff. So if I applied some Nivea to the one tail piece, and it made it less sticky, which was a welcome thing.
Yeah, definitely.
What's going on in the chat?
At the moment, not very much, actually. We've just got, Bargate says, we've got Mark. Hey, Mr. Pink, he says.
Hey, Mark, welcome.
But yeah, it's mostly Bargate and Lathion going forwards and backwards over Return to Monkey.
I guess I'll learn all about it after the stream.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. Trust me, it's not the worst monkey-related meeting there is out there, I'm sure.
Oh, there's a bladed mace. Oh, so this is like Sauron's mace, isn't it? Or no, sorry, flanged mace.
Well, that is a flanged mace, yes. Oh god, people be able to see my Discord on the internet now.
Uh-oh.
Hooray!
Sorry.
But yeah, it's all right. I mean, Sauron's mace is a flange mace, but I don't think that is actually Sauron's mace.
No. It just is reminiscent of it to me.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, that's basically the concept. It's kind of like a blade that you can hit anyone from any side with and it'll still hurt.
Which is really what you're aiming for with a weapon, right? No matter how I hit you with this, it's still going to hurt.
Yeah, exactly. I can't remember the name of it, but I think it was a Zulu weapon, some kind of tribal African weapon anyway. It was kind of like a throwing axe that was designed in such a way. It's a really funny shape, but no matter what side of it hits the enemy, it's going to really, really hurt.
Oh, wow. So it wasn't like what's the word I'm looking for? Like point kind of boomerang?
No, it looked like a piece of abstract modern art in terms of shape. It was really strange.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I only know it exists because it was in this sort of like fact book for kids that I used to read religiously when I was a young boy. So yeah, but it was a really, really weird looking thing, and I can't remember what it was called. Let me take a look at this. I might be able to find it.
Good luck. For anyone who's just
Zulu.
joining us, Mark, you might have missed this. So I'm joined by Peter Evil Eye today, who's our co-host, and this is slightly a different setup than what we're used to, just because I'm not in my usual space, but I thought maybe the internet connection here would be good enough for this, so we're trying it out. And so far it seems to be working. You'll have to tell me if it goes hideously sideways or something and you don't get audio or you don't get video. But I'm running it off my phone, so it's not going to be ideal. But if anyone remembers the early days of Mr. Pink Modern Synthesis streaming, this is how we used to do it.
Okay, I found what it is. It wasn't Zulu. It was another ancient African society. I think long before the Zulus, actually. From Central Africa. And there's all sorts of versions of it. The name of it is the Mambele, I think.
Manvele?
Mambele, yeah. It was and Lathion says it was a Zulu weapon at one point, so yeah.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, spelled oh god, can't speak. Spelled Mambele.
Do you want to just put it in the chat if anyone wants to look it up?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah. Oh, I can't spell. No, Mambele. Only problem is it might... Oh no, it does turn up the thing. I was worried it might turn up something completely unrelated, but...
Because it's the internet?
Yeah, because it's the internet, indeed.
Oh, apparently Lathian sent me a picture of it on Instagram. Thanks.
Oh, cool. But yeah, very strange thing. But yes, anyway. A complete tangent here, but just going back to you saying you're not a fan of winged tyranids, which I can totally understand because, honestly, I like winged tyranids, but I feel their execution suffers a bit a lot of the time.
Yeah, I mean,
how
do I explain this? I don't have any problem with winged tyranids. They're just not for me. Like, I feel like when we were talking about Tyranid design, Marco commented on how like some Tyranids just look like dragons, and like dragons are cool, and I like dragons. I feel like I want Tyranids to look alien, and to me, a dragon is not alien.
Yeah, not just a dragon covered in shell and gills.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you know, I like my Tyranids with bug wings because bugs are cool.
Like that's more interesting to me, a bug-winged Tyranid, than a wing-winged, like a leather-winged Tyranid.
Yeah. Also, it frees up, but because of the way insect wings work biology-wise, it frees up all 6 limbs to be available for limb things. So that's good.
Yeah.
But here's a question. Suppose you were commissioned by someone, for example, me.
Yeah.
At some point when I've actually got money.
Yeah.
And they said, look, I want you to design let's just say for the sake of argument, a harpy or a hive crone.
Yeah.
I want you to convert and sculpt a harpy or hive crone, but I want you to make it how you envision it looking good, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
I don't want it made to my specifications. I want it made to yours.
That sounds like fun.
How would you go about doing it?
I would probably steal a page out of Bargase knows me too well. One option would definitely be a jetpack crone because I love the idea of bio-jetpacks. I don't know why. Tyson Koch did that a while back, and I think he did a really good job of it.
Oh, I remember he did the hive tyrant with using the biovore.
Yes.
Parts to make
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
okay.
I think we
That's
might have
cool
touched
idea.
on that in the Tyranid design video that we did. But yeah, I do like the bioplasma ramjets and the jetpack crone or the jetpack idea. But I also really love Hydra's design that he did for his Odonata, which we also talked about in that same video. So yeah, for anyone who hasn't seen it, I did a video on Tyranid design with Hydra and High Fleet Malak. I think we posted it in February or something because that was the start of the creature conference, and in it we talked about kind of like the more modern Tyranid models and like what we love and don't love about them. And in that, Hydra showed off his version of a flying Tyranid that he actually made with the monstrous creature design rules. Like he made, oh, this is slightly off center. He made his.
I remember.
His came out like he made his long before we even had Harpy and Hive Crone models. And he just did a really good job of making something that was streamlined. And then that had all the weapons like aligned very close to the torso. So they weren't like sticking out on gangly arms. So I feel like if someone asked me to do a flying Tyranid for them, I would be very hard pressed to not rip off Hydra's design because he did such a good job on it. But I do love the ramjet. Now Bargase has called my bluff, and I love the idea of bio-jetpacks. Like, love.
Yeah.
Oh, and we saw on one of the streams, we also saw someone else who did a jetpack hive tyrant, where they used a modern plastic hive tyrant, and they used zoanthrope. Oh no, is it zoanthrope or is it the toxic? Not toxicrenes. What are they called? Venomthrope. Venomthrope.
Venomthrope, yes.
Yeah,
Venomthrope.
I think they used
ones.
spare Venomthrope bodies as the jetpacks on a plastic hive tyrant, and then it had a ripper mounted on its mouth as like a gas mask rebreather thing.
That's amazing.
So I love that version. So oh yeah, and Bargase saying I use the Venomthrope carapace for my Iron Man. Sorry, the comments kind of show up to me sometimes. Yeah, so I think that I would like to do, if I had my freedom to do whatever I wanted with it, I would probably do something that was like a combination of wings and bio jetpack, because like the wings are good for like soaring around, but I just feel like it needs the bio jetpack thing just to like be viable in terms of speed. That's a good question.
Yeah, that's a cool idea actually. I'm already picturing horrible ideas in my mind of how an organic air-breathing jet would work, presumably with multiple sort of like opening and closing suction chambers, and also obviously squirting in organic combustible fuel.
That sounds fun.
But yeah, would probably be absolutely. Oh, sorry, I just need to see what this notification is on. Sorry, I just need to. Sorry, Discord's.
Sure.
I'm just going to put myself on Do Not Disturb or Idle on Discord just because people are pinging me. But anyway. But yes, where were we? Oh yes, biojets.
Yeah.
Bargest also suggesting keeping the wings as control surfaces rather than mechanisms.
Literally, if you need a good Tyranid design, just go to Bargase. Bargase has got all the good ideas.
Yeah.
Because like that is a brilliant idea.
Sorry. Lathion had a good idea. He suggested taking inspiration from
Peter.
the Half-Life Combine gunship and drop carrier.
Lathion's pronouns are they, I believe.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's fine.
Lathion, yeah, they suggested taking inspiration from the Half-Life 2 Combine gunship and drop carrier.
I don't know that one. I'm gonna have to look that up.
Right. Yeah, I'll. It's an interesting one. It's kind of like it's very abstract. It does use, I think it uses rotors, which I'm not sure how you could actually make work in a biological case.
Oh.
I mean, obviously, but that wouldn't be too difficult to work around because insect wings again or something similar. But it does look very cool, I have to say. Let me ping you.
I think I found it.
On Discord. So I will if it will work. Ah, there we go.
Is it this thing?
This that's the dropship. Yeah. Now bear in mind, I've never played Half-Life in my life.
I've played Half-Life 1, but not Half-Life 2. Interesting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So some interesting points. Lathion, who's also said she, her, is also has some of her pronouns.
Yeah.
But
this one.
Says that,
the weird one that looks like a. I don't know.
Yeah. It looks very strange, doesn't it? I like it though. It looks like a big. It looks almost fish-like in a way.
Yeah. So I think Lathion's saying that this is the one. The one with the 4 or the 6 limbs.
Yes, that's the one. That's the dropship.
It looks like a whale shark to me.
Looks like a what? Sorry.
A whale shark.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah. Also, there's some more comments. Kajan's right. So hello, Kajan.
Hey, Kajan. We're doing it old school with my phone rather than with OBS. But OBS has been failing us lately, so maybe this is the way to go.
Yeah. And Barguest also makes an interesting point with regards to biojets. If you use the right principle, you might not need fuel, as we know the NIDS can make biological electromagnetic containment.
Oh. So how would that work?
Yeah.
How do you picture it?
Yeah, I assume. Now Striders will make great pet walkers for the crew. You'll have to excuse me.
I don't know what a Strider
I'm
is.
afraid I don't know Half-Life that well, and I need not to be constantly bombarding the stream with pictures for.
That's okay.
But yeah, but anyway, yes. With regards to jets, I'm sure Bargates will be able to explain to him. Ironically enough, considering that I used to work at an aircraft museum, I actually don't know that much about electromagnetic propulsion for aircraft. I can tell you that the idea.
Is that a thing? I didn't know that even existed for aircraft. I know, like in space, there's the ion drive. Is that electromagnetic propulsion? I don't know.
I think that's the same thing. I don't think it's ever been put into production on anything. Actually, I think it's very much hypothetical, theoretical at the moment. Same sort of thing that they'd expect to power space planes and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But theoretically, I can see how. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, my physics knowledge is not particularly good, which is probably a good thing that I'm in this hobby, I suppose. But yeah, certainly the way I was thinking of it was that, like, a traditional, no, Kajan, we're talking about Tyranid biojets for flyers, actually. Though Tyranid spaceships are always another good subject. And I remember a long time ago, I was thinking, I wish Mr. Pink here would do some Battlefleet Gothic sculpts.
Oh, that'd be fun.
That would be fun, yeah. It's a slight tangent, again. I always found it quite funny that the actual Battlefleet Gothic Tyranid miniatures were basically just made of bits from the Tyranid sprues cast in metal.
Yeah, like they were like Devourers and stuff like that?
Yeah, they were just Devourers with a bit of green stuff mixed onto them, and then cast as a few pieces in metal and sold to you as a supposedly new miniature. Except for the hive ship. That hive ship was entirely original and was very nice.
Didn't that also look like a whale shark?
It did. I was never sure which end was the front, which end was the back. I thought the end with the claws was the front for the longest time, but no, apparently that's the back.
Yeah, I don't know.
Blindhammer arrived. Hello, I heard talk of fart engines and old BFG models.
Well, I have some sketches from Roberto. I don't know that they were ever. Roberto says they were all published, but I don't think they were ever published on Games Workshop's website for Battlefleet Gothic Tyranid ships. And they are really friggin' cool. And I just went to check if I have them like posted anywhere, and I don't, so I should probably rectify that because there's some damn cool concepts there for Tyranid ships, like new versions of them that look less like repurposed bits from the sprue and more like kind of like sea creaturey, seashell. Because like let's face it, that's the best way to design a Tyranid ship is to make it look like a sea creature. But
Yeah. It's
yeah,
funny actually because I had an idea ages ago for a Tyranid like one-off unique ship that
yeah.
basically had evolved like a hermit crab or like a caddisfly larvae.
Oh, nice.
So rather than just having a regular armored carapace, it actually collects bits of interstellar flotsam and jetsam. So asteroids,
Yeah.
bits of destroyed spacecraft, etc., and graft them onto its shell. So it's actually got unliving armor in effect.
So we're picturing a Tyranid space Hulk, which I really like the idea of. Because isn't that what space
Yeah.
Hulks are? They're like rocks that like. Oh no, wait. What's the orc? Doesn't the orcs have a ship where they take like asteroids and like attach engines to them and shit?
Yeah, that's an orc. Well, that's most orc spaceships, to be fair. But yeah, orc rocks are
Oh, I think
asteroids
that's what
flown
I'm.
out and filled with
I think I'm picturing that rather than a space Hulk. So like a Tyranid like filling an asteroid with its body, slash grafting on all these ships, and then surprise, you think it's a piece of space junk, but it's a Tyranid organism. That I really like that idea.
Yeah, actually, Lation, she's come up with an interesting idea. Imagine
Yeah.
a Norn Queen living in a space Hulk like that worm from Empire Strikes Back.
Ooh, I like that.
Also, God, Bargate's on fire today. He seems to recall the old Battlefleet Gothic models were actually originally conversions done by some bloke in the journal, and then Games Workshop specialist games pick them up and cast them up.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, which is a cool idea.
Man, I wish they'd do that
We've
more.
got them a lot more. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Hello? Yeah, oh, sorry for a moment, I thought you were cut out there.
No.
Yeah, I you know.
What else is going on in the comments?
So, Kashan suggests he's not sure how he feels about Tyranid jet engines, but he would probably make them look like a bombardier beetle, which is a cool idea. The only thing is, and I'm going to be really pedantic, that would be a rocket engine, not a jet engine. That's me being very pedantic, I'm afraid.
As
Well,
we-
actually, same basic concept. Chemically ignited biofuel that produces an explosive reaction. So no, I take it back. That would work quite well, actually. Just I suppose the only difference is the rocket concept doesn't require air breathed in through an inlet, which allows it to work without air, so in space, but also uses fuel a lot more quickly.
Oh, so that's the difference between a rocket and a jet engine. We didn't all work in aerospace museums, so
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, he doesn't think you can do an organic jet engine if you want to be pedantic. Which I want to say challenge accepted, but at the same time, I've got so many butterfly brain projects on the go that I don't think that's a good idea. But yeah, and Bargist is saying in the Shield of Baal Devastation of Baal, they lean into the caddisfly concept where some of them use resin to glue asteroids and ice their armor, and they travel through a big freezing warp zone which flash freezes things, and they inject resin and fluids to also freeze and form armor.
oh my god, it's like what is it? Pyrocrete? Is that what it's called? The ice concrete?
Oh, pycrete, yes,
Yeah.
the stuff that the ice makes with wood shavings.
That I think it was some mad Canadian wanted to build battleships out of in the Second World War.
I can't remember if he was Canadian or British. I know he was working for the British, but I can't remember if he was originally Canadian or not. But yeah, Geoffrey Pike.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Yeah, and in a novel by one of my favorite authors, Neil Stevenson, he takes that concept and he uses it for space travel
Oh.
in like the not too distant future, like with almost current technology. The idea that you could create pycrete in space and use it as radiation.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
The only like
wonders if it wasn't American during the First World War, which I'm not sure. But sorry, carry on.
I think Lathian's joking. I think that's. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I thought that might be a joke. Oh, was it an American? Was it Canadian? Was it a Brit during the Second World War? No, actually, I think it was an American during the First World War. But maybe.
Yeah. But yes, Lathion, he did shoot the pipe Krieg to demonstrate how effective it was. He did do that. Yeah. But yeah, Kajan, you're absolutely right, and I am just being overly pedantic over the finer points of aircraft engines. That said, and this is just me wandering aloud, but I do think you could get an organic jet engine to work. You know, Mr. P, do you know how squid and octopus's siphons work?
No.
Oh.
But I feel like I want to.
They basically just like water jets. So they take water in from one end and like an esophagus, like squeeze it out the other.
Yeah.
They're almost like a gulping motion. Well, I'm thinking, imagine that, but multi-chambered, more complex, and with this aforementioned ignited explosive chemical biofuel in the process as well, and you've basically got yourself an air-breathing biojet.
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, Varghese does think they could manage organic jet engines, but yes.
If you want to be really pedantic, you'd have to find out. So if you want to be really pedantic, you could say that system would work in an atmosphere, but how are they propelling themselves when they don't have an atmosphere? Like nothing to suck in.
That's what I've always wondered. Though I've also always wondered why they suggested that hive crones were actually used as like space fighters, considering that their flappy wings would be absolutely worthless in space.
Yeah, this is why winged tyranids don't work for me. But
yeah, well, I suppose it works if you think that they have separate air and space capable tyranids.
Yes.
So things that can fly in space but aren't meant to enter the atmosphere, and vice versa.
Because theoretically, you wouldn't need as much thrust in space, right?
Of course, yeah, because obviously no gravity.
Yeah.
And that's why that's kind of one of the reasons why rockets work, is because there's no air to cause air resistance.
Yeah.
They what's the word? They actually don't need to use as much fuel, because you don't need to have the engine going on all the time to maintain a constant speed.
Yeah.
No
Momentum.
drag.
Yeah.
But yeah, Thunderhawks have conventional propulsion and shift to a reactor-based propulsion in space. So.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So bioreactors.
Hmm?
Bioreactors.
Yes, you could use this aforementioned more efficient chemical air-breathing biojet for atmospheric operations, and then in space you could switch to bioplasma jets.
Yeah. But really, when you have something as cool as bioplasma jets, you should just use them all the time.
Well, there is that, yeah. Yeah, and actually having two different types of engines rarely goes well for aircraft. I mean,
oh yeah.
Because then, well, just as an example, and I will stop playing nerding in a minute. But so you know the Harrier jump jet?
Yeah. The vertical takeoff and landing thing.
Yeah, and it was quite successful, as we know. The Russians tried to make their own version called the Yak-38. However, instead of using swivelable nozzles for the thrusters on the side from one engine, they had an entirely separate pair of extra engines that were only used for the vertical takeoff and landing.
Uh-oh.
Which meant that you basically had dead weight all the time it wasn't using them, which was most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the funny bit: it was so bad that when the Indians came to ask, oh well, we need some vertical takeoff and landing planes. We don't suppose you'd like to sell us your Yak-38s, would you? The Russians basically said no, just buy the. It's terrible. Just buy the Harrier. We screwed up.
Oh man.
And Kajan's got an interesting idea for Tyranid spaceships. Basically, a space amoeba, they turn their broadside towards the system star and basically become a huge solar sail.
Ooh.
Not only feeding the organism, but also propelling it away from the star, which is a very cool concept.
I like that.
Yeah, solar sails are cool, and there are definitely nid amoeba, all sorts of critters. Yeah.
But for a solar sail, don't you need like a very vast like surface area compared to the mass?
I suppose that is true. Yes. I mean, what you could always do is you could have it so rather than it being the entire thing's surface area, you could have like unfoldable fins that
Yeah.
have gigantic sails.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I don't doubt that the Tyranids can make it happen, but
Oh yeah, exactly.
you need to like unfold some kind of bio sail or whatever.
Oh, that's interesting. Battlefleet Gothic describes Nid ordnance and fighters as a mass combination of attack annelids, amoeba, plasma ramjets, hypervelocity, interception grubs, etc.
Cool.
And Lation says, could green Tyranids perform photosynthesis?
I don't see why not.
Which I don't see why not. I'm sure. I'm sure they don't even need to be green, knowing how well the hive mind works. But
Yep.
That's probably how they stay alive in the cold depths of space. They probably spend a lot of time around the stars, building up energy, and then obviously sodding off to the next planet.
Yeah.
Kajan says doesn't need to move fast. All it needs is being pushed into an orbit and then slingshot itself.
Ah, gotcha. Gravity
Yeah.
assist.
Yeah, always reminded me of the rather bizarre description of, was it the Narval? That little navigator spacecraft that somehow manipulates the gravity of the parent star they're trying to get to.
Is that a Tyranid?
Scientific shenanigans to somehow force the Tyranids to be able to travel at almost faster than light speeds.
Holy toot. I've never read about that. That sounds really cool.
Yeah, it's in the 5th edition codex, I believe. It might have been in earlier ones as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's certainly in that. But yeah, very interesting concept. I've no idea how it works, and
Science.
being technical,
Science fiction.
Science, yeah. And if we're being technical, even very fast, almost faster than light travel, would still be painfully slow compared to warp travel.
Yeah.
Because even light takes millions of years to get from one side of the galaxy to the other. But that's a
Yeah.
different story.
I just saw this thing on someone posted on Twitter where
Yeah.
they showed like a scale example of light traveling from the sun. Wait, no. So first they showed how fast light travels around the Earth, which is like I think it orbits the Earth 6 times a second or something like that. But then they showed
Something like that, yeah.
how fast light travels from the Earth to the moon. And like knowing the speed of light is super fast, it's like really far. Like the diagram basically gives you an idea of how big space is because it shows you that, and then it shows you light traveling from the sun to Earth, and it takes minutes. I think it takes 3 minutes or something, which doesn't sound like a lot.
It takes a long time.
But like at the speed of light, which is super crazy fast, that is really like it just gives you an idea of the vastness of space.
Well, that's the thing. Space is mostly just that.
Yeah.
Empty space. It's just empty.
I learned a lot of this when I was reading The Expanse, which is like one of my favorite sci-fi series, and now a pretty successful TV series that they did a very good job on. That because in The Expanse, like I've watched Star Trek, right, and I've watched like Star Wars and all that kind of stuff, and like that's the sci-fi I grew up on, and they're all like communicating in real time with each other over vast distances. But The Expanse was the first time I was reading a book, and they were like, okay, we're going to send this message out to Mars, and it'll get there in 10 minutes, and then we have to wait for 10 minutes to get the response. And I'm like, wait, what? Because like the fastest they can send the message is light speed. And light speed is really slow over those vast distances.
Yeah.
So it kind of made me think about it in a new way.
Yeah. Sorry, just a slight tangent on the comment side of things. Bargaze is saying there was probably some narrative push at Games Workshop to remove warp jump tech from Xenos races. So, for example, the Necrons had to use Dolmen gates to hack the webway. Tyranids had the Narval foisted on them, which I've got to be honest, I quite like the Narval, but
okay. So can we explain it? It modifies it manipulates the gravitational pull of the parent star to slingshot the Tyranid ships to a near light speed. Is that the deal?
Yeah, that's basically the deal. Yeah.
Okay.
I've got no idea how it does it, and to be honest, in universe they don't know how it works either. So.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, neat.
And neat, but still very slow. There's one thing. Oh, what was I going to say? Another thing that's interesting that hasn't been explored, at least to the best of my knowledge, in 40k, is something that's now obviously I know that warp travel causes a lot of time messing about anyway, because obviously the warp is a completely different dimension that basically says I don't think so to the laws of physics and causality.
Yeah.
But there's something very interesting I discovered, something called time dilation. So basically, the faster you go, the slower time passes for you.
Yes.
So, if you were to travel, just for say, I know obviously it's impossible to travel faster than light, but if you were to travel faster than light and were somehow able to go around the galaxy in a few minutes, by the time you got back to Earth,
you'd arrive before you left.
You'd arrive several years later than when you
got
back,
Whoops,
when you started. Even though it had only been a few seconds for you.
Yeah. So
It's quite...
I don't want to spoil that much. It's a little bit spoilery, but if that idea blows your mind, you should read a sci-fi series called The Three Body Problem. Because they...
I'm sorry, you cut out there.
Sorry.
Can I read the what, sorry?
It's a sci-fi series called, they call it the Remembrance of Earth trilogy, but it's sometimes, you know how like Game of Thrones is the TV series, but people call the books Game of Thrones, but the real name is A Song of Ice and Fire?
I do.
So this one is called the Remembrance of Earth trilogy, but people often refer to it as the Three Body Problem trilogy.
Oh, okay.
And it's like, it's an examination of, I think I've plugged it on the stream before, because I read it recently, and I've been crazy about it. It's an examination of what would happen if Earth made contact with an alien species, and how we haven't really contemplated the consequences of that. Like, we have like a very optimistic view of it, but not simple consequences like they come and they just blow us all up. Like on a kind of like a galaxy-wide perspective. But there's a point in there where they contemplate faster than light travel, and they have the experience of time dilation, and there's some crazy stuff that happens in there based on it.
Yeah.
It's really cool. It's just an amazing, like, it's there's parts of the story that are really like soul destroying and just like completely mind blowing.
Yeah.
It causes you to question your assumptions of like how contact with an alien race would go, and it's really, really interesting. Highly recommend it. It's also like very like science based and then like philosophy based, and I don't know, it's pretty interesting.
I'll have to check that out. That sounds very cool. Speaking of time dilation, a series that utilize it, another one you might like actually, not a book series, but an anime actually. Actually by the directorial debut of a certain Hideaki Anno behind everyone's favourite depressed teenager simulator Evangelion, is a far less depressing but still quite tear-jerking series called Gunbuster.
It's by the same guy?
It's by the same director.
Oh, wow.
It's from 1988. It was original video animation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's still in print, unfortunately, so I don't know how you could theoretically watch it.
It's the internet. You'll find it somewhere.
Well, it's the internet. You'll find a way. Yeah, exactly. But anyway, it's quite interesting because that deals with time dilation both quite heavily and quite realistically. So I won't spoil anything.
Yeah.
Because it's the punchline, well, not the punchline. That makes it sound like a comedy. But the kind of the very last bit of the very last episode, just in a good way, breaks your heart just because of how poignant it is.
Good.
But anyway, there's one bit where a character is I won't spoil too much, but it's stressing because they're going fast and light, and they know that the person they love isn't, and they're aging whilst they're away.
Oh, welcome to this thing I just told you to read.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, basically,
They
yeah.
They might have even gotten inspiration from that. But,
maybe.
Well, I don't know. I don't know which came out first. This was 1988.
Oh, yeah, it came out first.
Three Body Problem?
Three Body Problem came out in the 2000s. I believe the first book came out maybe 2006 or 2003.
Oh, okay. Okay, so one might have inspired the other, or it might have been completely unrelated.
But I think it's a very popular kind of, that kills me. Like, I don't know. Time travel, I'm all for. time travel love stories destroy me.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever?
Yeah.
It's not something that I would normally expect someone in the hobby to recommend. But have you ever read The Time Traveler's Wife?
No, I haven't actually. I haven't.
I
I've heard.
I read it a while ago, so I don't know how well it holds up. But like, I found that a soul destroying love story based on time travel, and it was really cool.
I know there's a film based on it, but I heard it wasn't particularly good.
I'd say read the book. The film's okay, but I'd say read the book.
Yeah.
It's actually like
Um,
it's I don't know. There's more depth to it than you'd think because it's like sold as like a romance novel or whatever story, but it's I don't know. There's some soul destroying time travel stuff in there.
yeah. Oh, also, I forgot to mention. Well, I say I forgot to mention. I didn't actually notice. Shows how much attention I'm paying. Joel D and Tom Wilson have arrived.
Hello, Joel. Hello, Tom. What are they saying?
They're discussing about. They're discussing. So everyone's basically discussing about fast and light travel at the moment.
I love it. This stream is officially a
Joel D
success.
actually brings an interesting concept, which is couldn't hive fleet ships have a small atmosphere the winged tyranids could actually use to fly around on?
Oh,
Which, given
because
the
they're so
sheer
big.
scale
Yeah.
of them, would make sense.
Also, they could be like off gassing all kinds of bullshit that could form an atmosphere because they're like consuming planet matter.
It's true.
I don't know. That's a good idea.
And what else we got? And Tom Wilson says, I know that gravity slingshots have been done to death in sci-fi, but the two shows it always reminds me of is Farscape and Outlaw Star.
I need to see Farscape. I still haven't watched it, and that's a failure on my behalf because I love Jim Henson.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I don't actually know anything about it, I'm embarrassed to say.
Pretty sure it's on Netflix. Well, we just learned that it has to do with gravity slingshotting.
Well, there we go.
Well, actually,
Yeah.
if you like gravity slingshotting, you should watch a little episode of The Expanse called Delta V,
Oh, okay.
which I think is a physics reference, but anyway.
Yeah.
As neither you nor I know anything about physics, we'll never know.
We may never know, yeah. Science used to be my jam as a kid, albeit more biology than physics.
Yeah, I was into
But,
biology. This is why we like Tyranids.
Yeah, exactly. Presumably the chemistry kids all went with Nurgle. But yeah, and Lord knows what the maths kids did. But yes. I've been lurking since the beginning, but hello everyone, says Tom.
Hello, Tom. Good to have you.
Good to have you. Also, he says, I love Farscape, everyone should watch it. I will bear that in mind.
Yeah, it's Jim Henson, so you know it's going to be good.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's, you know what's really depressing? Speaking of, not depressing, but embarrassing for me. Speaking of Jim Henson, is I watched Labyrinth and I absolutely loved it. In fact, as I believe I mentioned, I based my Squeakhopper Nights on Goblin Knights.
Yep. Yes, I remember.
Yeah, but I haven't seen The Dark Crystal yet, either of them. I need to.
So Dark Crystal's good.
Yeah.
I would say that it's a very different movie from The Labyrinth.
Yeah.
When I watched The Dark Crystal, it felt lonely in a weird way. Like kind of cool, but also okay, so the premise of The Dark Crystal is that the world is dying because these evil Skeksis are like stealing all the life force of the world through their like Dark Crystal thing. And I watched it as a kid and it made me sad. Like it felt like a dying world, which is very good, but it sometimes feels like there should be more characters in it, but it's still pretty good and it's very good. Like if you love Jim Henson art, it's amazing. Certainly.
Yeah, I do. I can't remember, and this might be me getting confused because it was around that sort of time and it was a similar sort of dark fantasy theme, but was Jim Henson involved with Legend, the one with Tim Curry as the devil?
I have no idea. I'm not sure.
Enough.
Maybe like the Creature Studio? I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah. Also, Joel says, warning about Farscape, it's sweet and horrific all in one. Funny storytelling with gut-wrenching lessons about brutality and warfare.
Yo, you got me, Joel. That's what I want. The heart-wrenching and brutality.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that is my jam. Hello, I like Evangelion. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, speaking of, going on a complete tangent. tangent. I just wanna
Speaking
say,
of nothing, we're
I
speaking
really-
of.
Yeah, I can't talk today.
No,
ever.
it's fine. It's fine.
My brain just doesn't work. I think I've stared into the shadow in the walk too long.
Uh-oh.
But anyway, but on a more 40k related tangent, I just wanted to say even though I didn't contribute nearly as much as I would like to, I really enjoyed June Stealer and following the streams and.
Oh, fantastic. Well, you have everyone here to thank for that because like it really became like a community thing. I really enjoyed June Stealer as well, even though I didn't contribute to it.
Yeah, no, it was great. Yeah, and
Happy to hear
obviously
that.
I contributed a little. I did those 4 fairly generic. Jesus, obviously I did my Patriarch, which I'm quite fond of, though I need to do more work on it.
Nice. That's good. That's a good contribution.
Yeah. I'm glad you liked it, by the way. I saw you liked it on Instagram.
Yeah, certainly.
And also, although it's actually late now, but you've also seen it, is the cult tank I've been working on.
Yeah, I like that. That's a cool one.
Yeah, I'm glad you like it, because I was thinking, is this going to work, or is it just going to be a tank sitting on top of another tank? But actually, I'm quite pleased with it.
Hey, what's wrong with a tank sitting on top of another tank? Everyone needs more tank.
Well, that's true. That's true. Everyone needs more tank. You're
especially
right.
if you're a fan of Cowboy Bebop. The song's called Tank.
Oh, of course.
There we go.
Tank. Yeah, sorry. Also, Kajan, unfortunately, is cellar flooded and all his plans for June Stealer went away.
No, that's terrible, buddy.
That is terrible. I'm so sorry to hear that. The Inquisition must have got you. The Death Watch must have staged. I'm sorry, this is a terrible joke. but my sincerest condolences anyway. That really sucks.
So when I was putting together my my man cave studio, because I have it in my garage, I was moving in my bookshelves, and I had all my like fancy Warhammer, not fancy, but like codexes and all the Warhammer books that I would be sad to lose because I have like old edition books and I really like them. I had them all on the bottom shelf, and I was like, what if this place floods someday? I'm gonna move them up to the second shelf. So I would advise you that if you store your, if you're in a basement or someplace that could conceivably flood, don't have your books on the bottom bookshelf. Put like models and crap that will maybe, like unmade models that will maybe withstand the water a bit more.
Yeah. No, that's probably a very wise suggestion. I would agree.
So hopefully Kajan wasn't too screwed over by that in terms of losing precious hobby stuff.
I hope not. Yeah, I hope not. But yeah, in any cases, my heart goes out to you, Kajan, because
sorry, buddy.
Flooding is never fun.
No.
Yeah. On a happier note related to Warhammer books, I've actually prepared for this stream. I've actually got not 1, not 2, but 4 Tyranid codexes, plus the Gene Stealer Cult Codex, and Psychic Awakening books for reference, just by my side.
Look at you! You're like trying to take on Bargeist for his encyclopedic knowledge of Tyranid history.
I am. Whether I'm succeeding or not, I don't know. But
well, that's a tough job, so good luck.
Yeah. I'm certainly not attempting. Oh God, Chaos Gods love to break hot water heaters, says Joel D. Oh dear. But yeah, no, I'm not meaning to challenge the dominance of Bargeist in the Tyranid encyclopedic knowledge.
Well, that's good because we will all lose if we challenge on that particular point.
I think we will. It's yeah. I mean,
maybe
when it comes to like.
Maybe that's why Bargeist's conversions are also good, because the encyclopedic knowledge of Tyranids. I didn't know that lore made you a better modeler, but maybe it does.
Yeah, maybe. And when it comes to sort of like encyclopedic knowledge of obscure things relating to 40k, I think even Zinch goes, I kneel, or I would if I had anything even remotely resembling knees before him.
Maybe they're hiring Bargeist to be part of that Lore Masters thing that they're going to do on Warhammer Plus.
I hope they would, because that would actually be worth subscribing for, I think.
The special Tyranid episode.
Yeah, the special Tyranid episode. We could do, like a... See, you know what would be cool if they, speaking of Warhammer Plus, is if they did do this Lore Master thing, is if they did it, like, from an in-universe perspective, rather than just some guy sitting in front of a camera explaining the lore to you.
Yeah.
If it was done from like the perspective of like an Inquisitor's report on some finding in some new sector or something.
Oh, that'd be interesting. That'd be cool.
Yeah, a bit like how they used to do the flood, like in the Codex essentially. Like let me take a look in like the big dissection of the Tyranids they did in the 3rd edition Codex, which I've got right here.
Nice. Okay, I gotta grab something. I'll be right back. One sec.
No worries.
I don't have my be right back sign. Here, I'll put my beer as my be right back sign.
Of course.
Beer.
Oh god, so many nerds making YouTube videos going, actually, Games Workshop got it wrong. Yeah, Bargeist, I mean, I feel torn on it, because like when Games Workshop, I'm always torn on things like this, because on the one hand, I feel like Games Workshop should not be exempt from criticism for making stupid or lore-contradictory, well, lore. Like, if they post something that says, oh yes, and the Howling Griffins came to the rescue of, I don't know, the Ultramarines and the Horus House, it's like, no, that doesn't work. I mean, I'm not saying they would, obviously, but if they do something like that, or something equally silly, oh, sorry, Bargeist. But yeah, if they did something just silly, just flat out wrong, I think they should be held to account for that, because obviously, I don't know, I feel like some standards should be maintained, but at the same time, when it is just a word of God thing, so like, for example, Games Workshop that says, yes, the red scorpions are in fact in that weird shade of bluey green, and then someone, Joe Public, comes along and says, well, actually, I have this copy of Rogue Trader, and it says, and yes, isn't silly up to the fact. I would agree. Obviously, 40k lore and 40k fluff and all that is very, very subjective. It's very subjective indeed. Like, and yes, and we can't even agree on what constitutes a Tyranid. Well, it's got to have 6 limbs for starters. I think that's the basis. It's got to have 6 limbs. If it's got more than 6, it's And yes, Barry. So that if they actually mess it up, they should get told they are wrong. I think if they just do things people don't like for whatever reason, and people say they're wrong, that's different. That's just, no, you just don't like it. I mean, it doesn't mean it's necessarily good, but that doesn't make it wrong. I don't know. I'm rambling. But,
that was a good ramble.
Yeah.
Oh,
thank you. Hello again, Pink.
I have returned. It's getting spicy when I'm working. I need to get a sweat rag.
Yeah. But yeah, it's going to be so many people screeching on YouTube who are just bawling. Yeah, that sounds about right. Unfortunately, there's going to be a lot of...
Speaking of people screeching on the internet, how does everyone feel about the Kill Team preview that went up on the weekend?
Oh, yes. It's funny, Bargate's just brought it up with the Krieg overrun, the internet overrun, people wailing that the Krieg don't have enough shovels because memes. Yeah, memes in 40k do go a bit far. But anyway, Kill Team, I think it looks fantastic, to be honest. I mean, I have no idea what the rules will be like, hopefully good. The orcs look absolutely stellar. I do wish they'd stop painting them so pale. I don't like the colours they painted their skin. I think they should be a bit more, I don't know, a bit darker and...
I think that's like new canon for orcs, though. Like the Cruel Boys, they're all very pale too.
Yeah.
I actually, you know what? I don't mind it. So, I think I've talked about this on the stream before, but my original Hive Fleet Fenrir, because I didn't know anything about Space Marines. And Fenrir is a cool monster. I painted my Hive Fleet because back in the day, I don't admit this very often, but I may have thought the Dark Angels were cool before I learned that all Space Marines are evil. So I liked Dark Angel Green, and then when Dark Eldar originally came out, my local Games Workshop was painting them in the kind of like now standard turquoisey scaly green.
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah.
Yes, I know the color.
So I like that color. So then when it came time to paint my Tyranids, when I evolved from the 2nd edition paint scheme, which is that like every different unit has its own weird color scheme and they're mostly red, I painted my Tyranids with Dark Angel green and the scaly green, turquoise, whatever. So that's a pretty dark green and a pretty
Yeah.
dark carapace color. And I had no contrast. Like my Tyranids were dark on dark. And it made it so like they didn't look very good and like the details didn't stand out very well because it was just like dark color on dark, damn it, on dark color.
Yeah.
So for that reason, I like that they're. Oh, for God's sake. Okay. I like that they're painting orcs in this lighter scheme on their skin because orcs wear a lot of like dark stuff, like dark red, dark. Like the Goths have a lot of like very black tones in their armor or clothing or whatever. So I think that the light green is better contrast against the typical dark green that orcs have.
Yeah, well, it's funny because I actually really like the colours they chose for the Cruel Boys for the Age of Sigmar stuff.
Yeah.
I just find the 40k orc scheme a bit, I know, a bit lurid. I find. I mean,
Okay.
one thing I will say is, and this is how I'll be doing any orcs if I ever start doing 40k orcs. But what I do for the skin for my grots or goblins or whatever you want to call them, for my gloomspite kids, is I use the Militarum green contrast paint.
Oh yeah, it's a good one. I like it.
It is, and that makes a fantastic orc skin shade, I think, or goblin
Oh,
skin in my
interesting.
case.
That's like my darker shade
Yeah.
for my Gene Stealer cult, and now my Tyranids.
Okay, yeah.
What is?
Oh, sorry. I'm just remembering that magnificent Osseous throne you sculpted for your cult. That was great.
Yeah, thanks. I just had I haven't posted it on Instagram yet, but someone an artist named Dicey June on Twitter did this giveaway where they said that if you made a donation to like a pro-Palestinian charity, they would do a sketch for you of
Cool.
like certain scale of sketch because of like based on how much you contributed. So I thought that was a pretty cool initiative, and they've done this before for Black Lives Matter, where
Yeah.
if you made a donation to Black Lives Matter, they would do a sketch for you, which was pretty cool. So they were just giving away free sketches for charitable donations. So I made a charitable donation, and they drew the not the throne. I asked for like the Osseous throne with the master, which is my patriarch. So they're more of like a character artist, less of like a background artist. So they said they weren't really comfortable doing the throne, but they were happy to do like a fancied up character drawing of my patriarch. And they did this. They did a really great job on it. So I have it as my part of it as my profile picture on Twitter right now, but I should
Oh, cool.
post it. I'll post it to Instagram eventually when I finish the dominatrix, and I can once again post normal updates because I need to finish the dominatrix before I post anything else. In my grid,
Yeah.
I'll post this the master, although sans throne. But okay, so that's how you feel about the orcs. How do you feel about the Krieg?
Well, I've always liked the Krieg, but then saying that, I've always known they were based on French bluecoats from World War One.
Okay.
So, but I like them. I think they're very good sculpts. They're not quite as finely sculpted as the Forge World ones, but then saying that, they're made of plastic rather than resin, so
Thank God for
you win
that.
some, you lose some.
That's winning
Then
most.
Hammer says,
I'd call that winning most. Anytime something's in plastic and not resin.
yes, indeed. Hello, Gavin. Anyway, Flint Hammer says happy gas mask noises. But yeah, no, I like the Krieg a lot. I think they look like a really cool set of miniatures, and I also think if we do get actual plastic Krieg for like regular 40k, I'm most excited to see what people do with the models, like what they do to convert them into new regiments.
So it's
Chaos
interesting
Regiments.
that you say that. Are we going to get plastic Krieg for regular 40k? The way I saw it, this is regular Krieg for plastic 40k. This is plastic Krieg for regular 40k. It just comes in a kill team box.
Oh, fair enough. I just wonder if they'll release another kit later. I don't know. But they might do. I mean, I'm more about smaller scale. Despite all the monstrous creatures I'm always drawing and trying to glue together, I'm actually more about small scale games.
I think most people are these
Yeah.
days. I feel the same. That I like making big monsters, but if I was going to play anything, it's probably going to be a small scale game.
Yeah, yeah,
What are other people saying about
yeah.
the preview in the chat?
They're mostly actually talking about hang on, let me scroll up a bit.
Yeah.
So Bargay says, sorry, Joel says Orc model has a Swiss Army knife, which is sweet. Haha.
Yeah.
I agree.
I love it.
Bargay says Kill Team looks good, brilliant models. If we get 40k Warcry style warbands, I'll take it. Not if it's
Yes.
20 different Astartes kill teams.
It will be. It will be. But once the 20 Astartes kill teams come out, maybe there'll be a couple of Xenos.
Maybe we can hope. Joel's once again says, "Oh wait, no, sorry, I'm getting mixed up with comments there." Lathion, Pinky, and I talked about the possibility of new Tyranids in a kill team, bringing up potential classic Lictors, and me suggesting Gene Stealers getting a unit alpha similar to the old Broodlord sculpt.
Yeah.
So basically a bit smaller than the current Broodlord. So more kind of, as she says, a mini boss rather than a full scale boss like the current one is.
Yeah.
Which is a cool idea.
Yeah.
Kazan brings up an interesting point about all colour. Since they're fungi, why do they need to be green? I'm sure you could just find out shades of blue or yellow.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. The only problem is you can't paint them purple because you won't be able to find them afterwards because we all know how all colour logic works. Purple is the sneakiest colour because you never saw a purple orc, did you?
So shouldn't the commandos be painted purple?
Well, they could certainly use. I think they. See, that's an interesting idea. Do they perhaps think about painting themselves purple, but then decide against it because they realise they won't be able to find their gun if they put it down? I don't know. I do oh yeah, green is best because photosynthesis relies on absorbing sunlight. Green works best for absorbing the wavelength of sunlight. Thank you, Bargaze. I never knew that.
Often the case with most of the things Bargaze posts. Thank you, Bargaze. I never knew that.
Yeah. Lation, she's just said, I will paint my commandos purple now. Good
I want to do the same. So I was not crazy. I was not excited about Kill Team. I think because I was thinking of Kill Team in the current situation, which is that they do this thing where they're like, yeah, we're releasing this new Kill Team for this force, and it's like you just took 40k models, put them in a box, and called it Kill Team. But
yeah,
and like when I was interested in Kill Team because I like you said, I like smaller scale stuff. And when Shadow War came out, and I just bought it for the terrain, and then I was like, oh, I guess I'll try playing this. I loved it. Like I loved it. It was so good. Like the progression and like the simple nature of it. And I basically what I loved about Shadow War was that it was Necromunda. But when Kill Team came out, I'm like, oh, okay, so this is gonna be like Shadow War. Because I had played Shadow War with a friend of mine who was interested in playing. This was long after Shadow War had come out. A friend of mine was interested in playing Warhammer, and I was like, well, let's play Shadow War because I have the rules. And like I have the Tyranids, and you can be like a Tyranid kill team, and I'll be a Genestealer called kill team. And we had such a great time. I'm like, oh, maybe I should look into Kill Team for us to play. So I looked into it, and I was like, oh, I got some money. I'll just buy a digital copy of the rule book. So I bought the rule book, started reading it. I'm like, this is just 40k. Like, I don't see any different flavor here or anything. So when I heard that Kill Team was going to be different rules, like not just pure 40k, like it remains to be seen what that means and how that pans out. I was more interested in it, and then kind of the penny dropped for me. It was literally the other day. I think I posted this on Instagram where I realized that Kill Team. I love Warcry and I love Warhammer Underworlds for the fact that they can release just like weird ass models for an existing faction, and you don't have to worry about a codex or anything like that. You just get like a cool crab that you can use in your like undersea elves force, or you get like some other cool stuff. Like I want that for 40k. That's what I wanted Blackstone Fortress to be. Like I wanted Blackstone Fortress to introduce. It did that a bit. Like it's like, oh, here's a model for a an Amble, or like here's a model for a whatever for 40k. Like that was amazing. I wanted more of that. But like I feel like we get a lot of that for Warhammer Underworlds, and like to a smaller extent Warcry, because they do a bit of that, even though Warcry is mostly just those chaos bands. But we don't have anything like that for 40k. So yesterday when I was thinking about this, or the day before, and I realized that Kill Team could be that for 40k, that they could just like release kill
Yeah.
teams for like various factions that need models. And like, sure, if you want to use it for your 40k games, you could totally just like take the models, like the Krieg and the orcs. So yeah, I got excited, and I have actually been off buying models lately. But this, I don't know. I'm worried I might make a kill team shaped mistake because there's promise here.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
love the orcs.
I
Oh
mean,
my god, I love the orcs.
Hmm?
I've never been interested in orcs, but these orcs, they got me.
Yeah. I mean, with regards to what they could do for Tyranids for kill team, one thing I'd like to see, which I'm not seeing a lot of people talking about actually, is I'd like to see some unique Gaunt variants, because if you look in like the old books, it always says that Gaunts are by far and away the most adaptable and mutable of all Tyranid subspecies.
Yeah.
Like, you name it, you name a role, there's a Gaunt for it. And
Ah.
it occurred to me, in regular 40k, you actually don't get that much variation. Like, obviously you get termagants, but people only ever give them, I mean, you can give them spine fists, but people always either give them flesh borers or devourers.
Yeah.
And then hormagaunts are stuck with siding talons anyway.
Yeah.
And I'm just looking in the modeling biomorph section of my 3rd edition codex now, and some crazy ideas they've given you for things you can do to make your Gaunt look different, like a way of converting a termagant to use a small, like a miniaturized venom cannon.
Oh yeah, that was because in 3rd edition you had weapon beasts. So I knew you were going to talk about 3rd edition because that's like that was the golden age of being able to do like different stuff with your gaunts, and it being depicted in the codex. Yeah, so this is something that I've touched on this with a couple of people, and I think Lathian and I touched on this when we were chatting about this topic on Instagram. That was another thing that I hadn't considered when like all this kill team stuff was happening. That just as they have like a squad of Krieg with like all these special weapon options, and you can have like different kind of special weapon troopers. What if they did that for Tyranids? Like, what would that look like? And what it got me thinking about was Marco's kill team that he made for Tyranids, the Crimson
Yes.
Stalkers of Tenebra Prime, which were featured in White
Yeah.
Dwarf, and many people remember it fondly. How cool would it be if they did something like that, where you got a box and it had like
Yeah.
different, like it has strangleweb, it had a spine, a spike rifle, and like other cool
Yeah.
stuff like that, so that you could like customize the gaunts in it in like a cool way. Like that would be amazing.
Yeah, because Kazan mentions not Kazan, sorry, Flynnhauer mentions the gun, the strangle web and the spike rifle. They are still available, but only in Legends.
Oh, you mean the rules for them, but there's no models.
Rules. There's no models for them, no, but you can still run them in 40k, but only if your opponent is okay with using Legends.
Okay.
But Bargaze has a good idea again. Sprays critters with what's the word? A medic biomorph that sprays critters with rejuvenating parasitical phage cells, or injects them with super steroids or something, like the weird plasmacyte thing for the Necrons.
That'd be cool.
It would be cool. And another idea I had was I was looking on one of the many 40k wikis in search of. You remember that bizarre trading card game they did with all the different weird things that never left that game?
Yeah, like the Viragon and stuff, or whatever the heck it was called.
The Viragon, the Vitiator, things like that, yeah. And the Nautiloid. Well, one thing I thought was they actually had a whole bunch of Gaunt variants. The only problem was that I don't know what the stats were like, or the fluff for that matter, but in terms of actual art for them, they were literally just different takes on the Hormagaunts and Termagants with no real difference. But it does provide a whole bunch of blank slate names that you could theoretically use for new Gaunt variants.
Like what?
Which I thought was... well, for example, there's... let me see if I can get the thing. Well, I can remember a few off the top of my head. There's Pyragorn, which I always thought would work well kind of like a scuttling suicide bomb, like a Hormagaun with a spore mine grafted onto its back.
Yeah.
There's Exagaunts, which I had an idea of them for being basically tank buster special weapons Gaunts. So they were armed with like a bit like the Venom Cannon weapon beast from 3rd edition. they worked a bit like that.
Mm-hmm.
There were Hell Gaunts, which were Razor Gaunts. Bargaze mentions. I can't remember what I decided Razor Gaunts could be. I think I had the idea of. Oh, I remember now. You remember the Thorax swarms from 5th edition? Shredder Shard beetles, electroshock grubs,
Yes,
and
yes.
Desiccator larvae.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember them.
I had the idea that maybe the Razor Gaunt could be a Gaunt armed with a weapon that fires the same Shredder Shard beetles that you can get in. Sorry, I'm just going to make with that.
Yeah.
All up down here now. But it would be armed with the same Shredder Shard beetles as normally found in monstrous creatures as the Thorax form.
Yeah.
So things like that. Also had an idea for, because another one was the Hellgorn, which is a bit more of a generic name, but it could work. I was thinking as something we all know and love, Bioplasma, which beloved of Carnifex and Exocrines.
Yeah.
Exocrines, I'm still not sure. But how about a Gaunt portable Bioplasma weapon? Obviously a lot less powerful than a Carnifex or Screamer Killer's Bioplasma.
Yeah, so like a strangle web in the sense that it's like a Gaunt portable flame template, but something that's more like a flamer and less like a I'm gonna check your strength and I'm gonna like bind you, more like I'm just gonna spray some acid on you, or like an acid spray, because we get those in bio blah, 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 in what's the word I'm looking for? Spore mine, in spore mine form, or in like larger beast form. But that'd be cool to have that on a Gaunt.
Yeah, exactly.
What are people saying in the comments about all this?
Okay, so PFK Painting has joined us.
Oh, welcome. I think I know PFK Painting from Instagram.
Okay.
And I don't know if PFK Painting has been on the stream before, so welcome.
Oh, hello. Kazan is sorry, not Kazan. Flinthammer is lamenting the loss of Shrikes having usable rules, which is a grand tragedy, I have to say.
I feel like
wanting to give my warriors.
If there are two things that you can count on from the stream, it's that Bargaze is going to know everything, and that Flinthammer is going to be sad about Shrikes.
Yeah, which I can understand. Lathion, she's had another idea for Kill Team as a medic. A big slug organism that consumes dead fighters and shits them out back alive.
That's cool, but it sounds too big for Kill Team.
Yeah.
I think the previous idea of like something that spews like bio restorative juices onto them makes more sense.
I think so too, yeah. What's this? Given the Games Workshop already reused the Tyranid art they used on 6th and 8th edition codex of the new White Dwarf, I have no hope for them to bring us any new models, which unfortunately include Strikes.
So, situation, they're not bringing us new models now. I don't think I don't think that precludes them from bringing us new models ever, but I feel strongly that Octarius or Octavius or whatever it's called will not have any new Tyranid models. Because I don't think we're getting a codex. I think we're just getting the like in the campaign book codex refresh, which means that the Tyranid codex is at least 6 months out, if not more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is fine. You just got to own it and not get your hopes up too high, because you'll probably be disappointed.
Yeah. Oh, Lathion had another... Not Lathion, sorry. Bargaze had another idea. A really skinny Gaunt, a Gaunt, you could almost say, that wraps itself around another Nid as a supportive exoskeleton.
Oh my god, I love it!
Yeah. Yeah,
and then does what?
Well. It reminds me of an old idea I had for a Carnifex that used kind of bio-graft on Hormagaunts, almost like living boxing gloves, a bit like, I can't remember, boxing crab that used sea urchins as boxing gloves.
Are you what? I've never heard of that. That's so cool.
It sounds cool, but it's actually really cute because it's a tiny little thing.
Oh, okay. That is so cool.
But it is cool, yeah. I always find symbiosis in nature fascinating.
Yeah.
Oh my god, according to the Tyranid subreddit, the white dwarf with a Tyranid on the cover doesn't even have Tyranids inside.
Welcome to being a Tyranid player.
Yeah, we've been gypped again.
Shouldn't use that word, but yeah.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean...
That's okay.
Didn't mean anything, but I was always under the impression it just meant, like, cheated, you know.
Yeah, but it's a pejorative term for gypsies.
Is it? Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, my apologies.
I learned it
Um,
myself recently. Well, I somewhat recently.
hmm. uh, isn't the cover of the new Warzone book new Nid artwork? No,
No.
Flinthammer, I'm afraid it's not. It's the same book we've had on, same art, so we've had on the 7th and 8th edition, well, no, sorry, 6th
Wait.
and 8th edition
No.
Tyranid codexes, so that's
He
great.
said the cover of the new Warzone isn't. Are the Tyranids even on the cover of the Warzone book?
I don't know. I thought that was the orcs that were on the Octarius thing. I think he means the White Dwarf.
Have we seen? Oh yeah, the White Dwarf. They're definitely on the White Dwarf. But have we seen the cover of Octarius? I don't know that we have.
No. Oh, he thinks he means the Warzone book. It's definitely new. Oh, okay. Well, if Bargates is saying it, it must be true.
Careful.
Um,
That's how we get ourselves in trouble.
I'm just a bit too lazy to look it up myself. But yes. Also, man, I'm looking at the back of my 4th edition codex now. I'm looking at three models by Marco in here. They are fantastic.
The what's by Marco in there?
The 3 models by Marco in the back of
Oh, the inside back cover.
codex.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the inside back cover, you've got the Tyrant Guard, which is apparently not got much Tyrant Guard left.
Oh, that's the one with the zoanthrope head, right?
That's Zoanthrope head?
Oh wait, I don't know what you're looking at. I can't wait. What color is it painted? Is it red and black or is it
It's red and black, so it's definitely High Fleet Malok.
Yeah, so it's the zoanthrope head. It's the old 2nd edition, oh no, 3rd edition zoanthrope head on the guard, and the idea I think for those guards was that they used psychic power to shield the tyrant.
No, this is a different one. This is
okay.
This is just in the back of. You know how what's the word? You know how they used to have showcases of particularly impressive bands models on the backs of codexes?
Yep. Oh, it's just like a normal. It's just a normal tyrant guard.
It is, yeah.
Oh, okay, so it's a converted one that he did. Okay, right.
Heavily converted it so it wasn't just squatting.
Because he did another tyrant guard that has like, it's like a psychic shield, so it's like a more upright tyrant guard, and one of them is like pinning someone to a rock with like flesh hooks coming out of its arms, and that one is psychic based. So it's got a big zoanthrope head.
Yeah, I think I know the one you mean, but I can't actually remember. Also, Manzak Miniatures has arrived.
Oh, Manzak! It's been a long time. Welcome, buddy. I'm back to the old days where I'm doing it all on my phone. Good to see you.
Yeah. So, hello Manzak.
Manzak is super talented sculptor and does a lot of stuff more in Age of Sigmar. I almost said fantasy. But like a lot of kind of what would be considered Xenos in Age of Sigmar, like non-human creatures.
Oh, cool.
Like he's done a snapping turtle out of a what's the big blood crusher thing that used to be in the starter set for alongside the not a blood crusher. It's like a big fleshy monster. That thing. So Manzak took that and made like this amazing snapping turtle out of it. And like sculpted the shell. It's fantastic. So Manzak is super talented. Manzak's more active on Twitter, I believe, than on Instagram, but I think Manzak also has an Instagram, and you should definitely check it out.
Yeah. Also, apparently someone mentioned the word spiky bits on the chat, and it's
do not. We do not speak of that place.
Yeah, that's what they said. I'm inclined to agree. I know.
That foul hub of scum and villainy. What are they talking about, though? Why are we talking about that place? Clickbait?
Someone mentioned it because apparently they have the cover for the new Warzone book up on there, but I'm not.
Oh, don't ever go there. Why would you ever go there for anything? Ugh. All they want is your clicks.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to pointy parts. No.
I like it.
Yeah.
We do not speak of pointy. We do not speak of pointy parts or oh god, what can I do? Pointy parts or oh man, I'm losing it. Or what's the synonym for green?
Green.
Another way to say green. Yeah, or verdant things planet. We don't talk about pointy parts or verdant things planet.
Oh yes, I understand what you mean.
Now
Yeah,
you get it.
sorry. It took me a while to work out what you were going for, but
It's
yeah,
because
I understand.
I'm nothing if I'm not
The,
obscure.
the sculpting stuff emporium that shall not be named. Yes.
Exactly.
Um. Oh. What's this? Someone said. Um. Uh. People are debating over who the dollar store Duncan Rhodes is. Someone
What?
said next level painting, perhaps.
What is? Oh, this is like, if like oh dollar. Okay, so I have this expression, probably not great language, but if you have like an actor who looks like another actor, I
Yeah.
refer to them as a poor man's such and such. So, like for example, if you can't
Yes.
afford to get Brad Pitt, you could get a poor man's Brad Pitt in some actor that
Right.
looks like Brad Pitt. So the
Yeah.
dollar store Duncan Rhodes, that's a new way of saying that. I like that.
Yeah. Rule number one: we do not speak of pointy parts or verdant vendors, says Joel.
Verdant vendors. Okay, that's a good one. But I think it needs to
Also,
be
Tom
verdant
Wilson.
things planet or
Sorry.
something. Because pointy parts is like a, I don't know.
Hang on, sorry, Joel. Tom Wilson has also said, but what about the ding of missing spirits?
Oh shit! What is that? I've lost.
That's the
The-
bell of lost souls.
The ding of missing spirit. This is amazing.
Yeah, they're not lost. They've just gone missing down the back of the Emperor's sofa.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't like I know that Lost Souls is also like clickbaity, like spam ad topia, but I've not had as many negative run-ins with them as
They're not. They're not pointy parts. Let's put it that way.
they're not pointy parts. Yes,
Yeah. Oh dear.
pointy parts
Yeah,
is in a league of their own, and not a good one.
Yeah, I mean, in general, I find most kind of like big or even semi-organized, kind of like wargaming punditry websites and media outlets to be a bit, but that's just me.
I feel like Fate was pretty cool back in the day, when Fate was like a going concern.
Fahrenheit. I see. That's what it means.
Fate,
I don't know. I know.
Fate
I know the ones you mean.
213, Fate 414. I can't remember the number. It was another punditry, another rumor site.
Yeah, I seem to recall that one was okay actually. So we won't dunk on that one because that one was actually okay.
Well, Fate was kind to me. Fate put the Modern Synthesis site up on their like blog roll, which was nice.
Oh well, fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I won't. I mean, to be fair, there are some forums I like. Like, I do use Bolter and Chainsaw because they
Well, that's
are a
different.
Nice bunch of blokes.
That's not like that's like so. Fate is just trying to like not Fate. Pointy Parts is just trying to like make dollars off of ads on the back of like Warhammer rumors, but like the forums are different. They're not like that.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. They're not all good, but they're different, yeah.
Yeah, like they're more. They have more purpose, I would say.
That has just reminded me though of and I've immediately forgot. Oh yeah, that's reminded me of what really annoys me about pointy parts. It's less the clickbaiting over the rumors, which does annoy me. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It's more the stealing other people's pictures of their conversions and posting it without their permission.
Yes, we've talked about that on the stream before, I think.
I think we have, haven't we? Yeah.
That's not classy.
It's not. It's just not what you do, really. It's just no. Yeah, we've. Bargate's he's got the word for those people. Rumor aggregators.
There you go.
A bit like mainstream news aggregators. Most of them suck. I would thoroughly agree with that. But anyway, what have we got? I think we need to get off the subject of websites that make us angry.
Okay, did anyone else say anything else about their feelings, their thoughts about Kill Team? Because I feel like we didn't hear from too many people about what they think of Kill Team. Are they excited? So if we missed your opinion on it, let us know now. Remind us now. Share it now, please, in the chat, and we will get back to that.
Please do, because we weren't actually having too many people discussing it. Although I think Bargate's mentioned night gaunts, which were basically winged hormagaunts, which are pretty cool.
Yep.
And Dwarvenage is here. Hello, Dwarvenage.
Okay, how am I doing? So my claw on the end is a little larger than the claw on Roberto's drawing, but I like it.
I think it works. I think it works quite well, yeah.
So
And
now
obviously
I'm.
you'll have the, I assume you'll be sculpting more carapace onto the
Oh,
end as well,
certainly,
so
yeah.
that'll
This is
make it
just
look,
the beginning.
yeah,
So that's this side, and then the other side I'm going to have it firing out, so that the different little claws. And again, I've said it before. One of the best Tyranid bits ever is the gargoyle kit in terms of like bits you
yes.
can use. So for these little claws on the bottom side of this talon, I've used the tail tips from gargoyles.
I can see that, yeah. Is that a Morlock pincer tail you used for the actual claw there? I can't tell.
It is, yes. So that I clipped
Yeah,
those from they're the two pincers from the Moloch pincer tail,
yeah,
just because I thought they would work well.
they do.
I cut them
And they
further
do
down
swords
because
on
they
them.
were
Go on, convex, actually.
pretty chonky, so I cut them further down.
Yeah. Also, we've got some comments. So,
Yep.
Dwarfenage says, so if Kill Team is as good as Stargrave, I'll be happy.
Oh, he's trying to make some friends with Hydra. I don't even know if Hydra's watching the stream, but he'd be happy to hear that. I got a copy of Stargrave and I've been reading it. It's looking pretty good so
yeah.
far.
Oh, cool. Mark apparently is not excited about Kill Team.
Oh.
He hasn't elaborated on why, but we'll see.
Please say more, Mark.
Yeah, Kajan is very excited for Kill Team. He wants them to go full Warcry on it.
Oh, me
Joel
too.
says that claw is looking amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, it says the scale is great. Where did those legs come from?
So you mean the legs on the Lictor? Because
I
these
assume he means the actual legs, which look to be the flying Hive Tyrant's legs. If I'm correct.
I can't remember if these might be the flying Hive Tyrant's legs or they might be the standard Hive Tyrant's legs. But I chopped off the bot. I think they're the flying Hive Tyrant's legs. I think I chopped off the
They
sighting
look
talons.
like the flying ones because it's got the leg a bit more straight on the flying ones.
Yeah. So what I'm gonna do is because this is meant to be a Lictor, I don't love the idea of Lictors having hooves. Because lictors have to be able to climb trees and stuff like that, and like how do you climb trees with a hoof? So I've taken an existing, I think it was a Hive Tyrant hoof, and I've split it into two. So they're gonna have split hooves at the front, and I'm also going to carve them down a bit to make them more look like talons than hooves. I don't know if I've
Okay, so
started
they're
one.
kind of hooked a bit.
Yeah, they're gonna be more hooked. I think I started one, but I can't find it now. Yeah, so it's gonna be more kind of like hooked claws rather than hooves, and then I'm probably going to put another claw in the back for gripping, just so that it can conceivably like climb a tree.
Oh yeah. It's what reminds me of Bio actually is spider feet, because if you look up close at a spider's foot, they have feet very similar to that. So they've got like two grippy hooked claws at one end, and at the back they've got a second, like almost like a new claw.
Yeah.
Which is one of the things that annoys me. I love the Ragnarok spider kit, but it does annoy me that it ends in pointy blades because spiders don't do that. But spiders aren't the size of houses either. So. And
I think we've complained about that when it comes to Tyranids as well. The idea of Tyranids that are stilt walkers that have just like pointy legs on the end of their or pointy points on the end of their legs. That wouldn't make a lot of sense.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got a bit more discussion. Mark says, I'd rather Forge World continue to make Krieg. Games Workshop Plastic Krieg are crap, but give me more commandos. Fair enough. Dwarfenage, I always thought the Forge World Krieg looked like Nazi soldiers. If we're being technical, they're based on a blend of French and German soldiers from World War I, when Nazi soldiers were very much not a thing. And thematically, they're basically kind of like, you could argue they're basically, what would the ideal soldier for a World War I style battlefield be like? And the answer is the Krieg. That is to say, absolutely horrific, almost mindlessly loyal, self-sacrificing nutters, basically.
Yeah. But hasn't, this is a big bone of contention on the internet right now, that all the, like, Imperial Krieg-loving nutcases are losing their ever-loving minds about whether they're based on the French or they're based on the Germans. I haven't actually gotten into it. I just know that I've seen it peripherally being like harangued
Yeah.
about on the internet.
Well, as someone that is, Bargay says no, Dwarfenage, don't go there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's as soon as Dwarfenage said that, my thoughts were don't go there, because that's what everyone's
Yeah.
complaining about right now.
All I will say is, from a historical point of view, they are definitely more French than German, by far, and the German elements are based from World War One.
Yeah.
People that think they are based on Nazis, either because they think, oh, Nazis are cool, or oh, they look vaguely like Nazis, therefore anyone that plays Krieg is a Nazi, they're wrong. They're not. Also, slightly amusingly, their tactics are about as far from World War II Germans as humanly possible. Like, because the Germans obviously were all about, well, yeah, exactly, Manzak. If you're arguing for it to be based off Nazis, stop. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, so that's the ridiculous bit. But I think they're cool models. I like their las guns. I think they're really neat, the design on them. They are very large. I had a conversation between the Bolter and me, and they're all about discussing how comedically large 40k weapons are. And they commented on how large the las guns are, but I think they're cool. Like I like the I don't know, the weird kind of science fiction laser gun looking ridging on them, and like the cool kind of like where the skull is placed on them. And then I really like the cool thing they've shown subsequently to the weekend preview is that there's all kinds of special weapons on that sprue, which we didn't see in that initial preview. Like they've shown a flamer, they've shown a melt-a-gun. I don't think they've shown a plasma gun. They've shown a plasma pistol. They've shown a sniper rifle. I think they showed some kind of grenade launcher. There's like a guy who's like hinging a looks like a kind of flare gun, I don't know, single shot grenade launcher open and putting a grenade in.
Oh, so, yeah, sort of thing you mean. Yeah, very, very much a World War One style, like flare/grenade projector gun.
Yeah, so they've got like that kind of stuff, which is really cool. I'm glad that because when they were first shown, you only saw like one set of the models, and it's like, okay, this is going to be a box set. There's not going to be any options, but they've shown, I think, for both Orcs and Krieg that there will be options. It sounds like it's a complete sprue in a box rather than the like one-off sprues that they used to do, which is a huge improvement because then you get things like the one-off sprue of Gene Stealers from Deathwatch Overkill that never gets released because they're like blended onto a sprue with a bunch of other things.
Yes. Also, just so you know, Dwarfenage has to go. But
Dwarfenage! I'm glad you dropped in, buddy. This is pretty early for you, so thanks for making it.
Yeah. Yeah. My biggest gripe with the Krieg, to be honest, is it means we're not getting at least not yet. We're not getting plastic Athonian tunnel rats, which is a shame. Because
what the heck are those?
Semi-obscure.
What the heck are those? Why would we ever get those?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. That's why I like them.
Can you make them from Krieg though?
I'll find a picture of them and send them to you on Discord.
Okay.
Because they were a fairly obscure legion regiment, even that were featured in the 5th edition rulebook, I believe.
Yeah.
But they look. Here we go. Here's a. Let me just get as big a picture as I can of them, just so I don't send you a picture for ants. And they look exceedingly 40k. I don't know why. I just love how these guys look.
Okay.
This is like one of the only pictures of them, but.
Oh wow! But can't you just convert Krieg to be these guys?
Yeah, I'm sure you could. That's just obviously laziness, but no. To be fair, you could. I mean, the helmets look a bit different. I don't think they're regular gas masks. They're more sort of like. No, there is actually no. I tell a lie. There is another piece of art of them. I'll just post it here.
Oh my God! Forest Sprite is here. Hey, Forest Sprite. Sorry, that's a real world, a non-40k friend of mine. Who hasn't been here in a while.
Oh, no worries. Hello, Forest Sprite. Kajan wants fire skunks, who I don't recognise.
Fire skunks. Well, we could play this game all day, but like the thing is, now you have a greatcoat guard with a gas mask, with like a weird whatever that you can convert into these things, which is awesome.
And that is awesome. Yeah, that's the thing. And if I do get some Kriegers, if I do for some reason start playing Imperial Guard, which is probably unlikely. But if I was to do some Brood Brothers for my Gene Stealer cult, for example, they would probably be based. Well, they'd probably be a homebrew regiment, to be fair, but they'd probably be at least partially based on the look of the tunnel rats.
Nice.
Also, Forest Sprite's masters are officially over. They can hang here almost relatively guilt-free.
Oh, that's a she.
Happy face.
Forest Sprite's a she.
Hmm? Oh, hello, Forest Sprite. Miasma red cowls are the fire skunks, apparently. I don't know who they are, but I'll take your word for it.
So this sounds like an infinite regress of, hey, can't we get this cool Imperial Guard chapter? But like now we've got greatcoats, then you can convert them from them, which is awesome.
Yeah, which is awesome. Yeah.
What about other opinions? Are there other opinions on the launch or the preview that don't have anything to do with talking about Germans and French?
No. Most people are just saying, yeah, it looks great. I hope it's good.
That's good. I want to hear that.
And that was basically it, really. Everyone just seems to be very happy to see it, which I would agree with. What else? I'm sorry, I'm just having a bit of
That's fine.
a moment there. So we've talked about potential units for a Tyranid kill team, so Gaunt variants, obviously plastic Lictor, and hopefully an alternate Lictor build of some description.
Yeah.
Here's a question. What about Gene Stealer cults? What would we like to see for a theoretical Gene Stealer cult kill team? Because I feel like the cults would be greatly suited to a kill team environment.
Oh, that's a good question. What are people saying? What are you thinking? Share your thoughts in the chat.
Yeah, share your thoughts in the chat. Also, just briefly, Lathion says, can we talk about a potential Black Templars release? No, because it's Space Marines.
Yeah, I'm not really interested. I don't really care. I mean, that's cool that you are excited, but I don't really care. Especially with all the weird stuff around Black Templars. There's a lot of weird people who are very into Black Templars for not ideal reasons. So yeah, I'm not really interested in going there. Like, I'll happily discuss politics on this podcast. I will not discuss weird crusade signaling stuff. Also, they're Marines.
Yeah.
Boring. Next.
Yeah. And hang on just one moment. I've just got a message from someone I just need to reply to.
Yeah, go for it. I will check the comments myself. Apparently, I know how to do this.
I'll be right back.
So, Forest Sprite, what am I sculpting today? I'm working on a sneaky predator type thing. A Lictor, which is a Tyranid that can camouflage and hide from its enemies and then jump on you at the last moment. So I'm making like a larger version than what would normally be the normal model that people would get. And this is a commission for someone who wanted me to do like an upsized version of a normal model. So right now I'm working on his Freaky Claw based on, let's see if I can pull it up, based on this sketch. So I'm trying to make something that looks like that over here. Yes, so that's what we're working on. And we're talking about the new Games Workshop preview. It was last weekend.
Yeah, okay, sorry about that.
Oh, that's fine.
So, actually, can I just have a look at the ribcage detail on that Lictor, on the Death Leaper?
Yeah, but I kind of don't want to show it too close because I feel like I just fudged it. So, the one thing that I wanted to comment on, like this Lictor, if you hadn't seen it before, the legs are from a flying tyrant. So a lot of these pieces are like repurposed tyrant pieces. One of the pieces I'm most proud of is the tail. So this is the flying tyrant tail. You might recognize it like this. Oh wait, how is it? It mounts the tyrant like that, so it's flying up off the ground. But if you just take this tail and literally reverse it, it still kind of works. Like the joints and all that, it looks different, but you just flip it upside down. And then you've got this cool tail that's like curling around to like strike the enemy. And then it just required some kind of like filler work in here. I filled this with epoxy fix-it just so that it was like really solid, and I think I put a giant pin in there because this client was very adamant that they wanted this model to be solid, that it wasn't going to like break apart, and I completely appreciate that. I'm someone who loves pinning. So there is, I think it's actually a bicycle spoke that goes like very far up into this tail to like reinforce this joint. And then I reinforced it with fix-it here, and then I think I have very thick pins through the thighs, or like maybe bicycle spokes again. And then there's a pin that goes up into the body. But the big brain fart that I had is that this is the central portion of a Hive Tyrant torso. And then these are the side portions, but they've been like completely turned around. So on a Hive Tyrant, you would normally have like the flesh hooks mounting here. and there's these kind of ports
Yeah.
where the flesh hooks mount. Those ports are actually here. So I've rotated this
Yes.
thing down and back. So I think this port is technically the upper port on a Hive Tyrant, and this is the lower port, but I cut it all out. Um, just to get like a different line on things. And the other thing is I cut, there's like spacers here that make the Hive Tyrant torso wider. So I removed those and I shaved down the backs of these pieces so that you could have a much more narrow torso than you would normally get on a Hive Tyrant. Just to indicate that this thing isn't just another Hive Tyrant, it's a Lictor.
I have to say, I really like the torso so far. It's a really nice shape. I like the narrower size of it. And actually, considering you said, oh, I fudged it, I actually really like the way the ribs are done.
Well, the situation with fudging it is that... What the hell's going on? Because of shifting it all around, the ribs would normally just like flow out in a straight line from here. But because I turned it all around, I had to like kind of come up with my own weird rib design. So like I have ribs kind of going out to the side, but they kind of like curl up, and then I got to figure out what I'm going to do along the carapace, because it's got gaps in the carapace for the vents, but I'm not going to have the vents on the back. So there's kind of this negative space in here that I need to do something with on either side.
I mean, one idea I've just had regarding the bits where the vents would be is maybe make them into a bit of a feature. So perhaps extend the carapace just a little bit. So rather than filling in the voids, have some like hooked protrusions from each edge of the carapace.
That's a cool idea. I like that. We could do that. We definitely do that.
More of an interesting shape to the carapace plates.
Yeah.
Just thought, anyway.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
So...
I must also ask, is the tail just going to be a regular pincer, or are you going to do a bit more with it?
Very good question. I want to do a bit more with it. Let's see if I can find the example. So again, Roberto, genius, did a design for a Lictor tail end that has kind of a little flippy outy barb that fires out of it. So I'm thinking of doing something like this for it.
That would be great.
So right now it has 2 barbs, so I'm going to add like a 3rd barb or something like that. I don't know. That's what I kind of want to do, but I haven't really figured it out yet.
Right, so like a three-bladed pincer.
Yeah. But the only downside is that there's a really cool kind of like mouthpiece in here, which I don't hate. So I don't know. We'll see how I do it.
Yeah. I think it's got, but yeah. But no, so far I'm really liking this conversion anyway.
Thank you.
Really good,
I'm pretty happy with it. I've not like, it's a bit crazy, but I did a post on Instagram where I showed like old model projects that I started and never finished. And one of them was the Secret Father, which I started getting back to for June Stealer. But another one was a converted Lictor based on a classic Jess Goodwin sketch. And it was actually the first Tyranid that I ever started trying to convert, but I never finished it. So that one's kind of like annoying for me that I never got around to finishing it. But so this kind of feels like a spiritual successor to that, because I've never done a Lictor. Like I've painted classic Lictors, but I've never converted one. So I'm happy to be doing this.
Yeah. Lathion, she's just come up with a good idea for the end of the tail. Now, I don't know if these kits are still available, but she suggested, have you considered using the flowers from the Alien Plants terrain set? Couldn't they work?
Are those not still available? I hope they're still available. I'd be sad if those were gone.
Yeah, I had a feeling they went out of production, but I could be wrong. I hope they're not out of production, because they are very cool.
I hope you don't take this the wrong way, but I hope you're wrong, because those are really cool kits. Actually,
I'm wrong too.
They can't.
No offense taken.
I don't think they could be out of production, because recently people have been sending me pictures from, I don't know if it's the Orc Codex or the most recent White Dwarf, that have those alien flowers in the pictures, and people are like, oh, is this new Tyranid terrain? I'm like, no, those are those alien flowers you forget they released. So they're being featured in White Dwarf, so I hope they're still around.
Yeah, let me just take a look in the Games Virtual Web Store and see if they're still available. Terrain, all terrain. Let's see. No, that's the cool Necron thing. Ridiculous floaty thing. Nurgle, plant. Oh no, they don't seem to be. Oh, well, they're not on. They're not on 40k. Maybe they're in Age of Sigmar.
That would be weird. So if they're not in 40k, that concerns me.
Yeah. Don't view all. No, they're not in a. Oh God, I think they might be out of production.
That is dumb. That would be
Yeah,
really
they do
unfortunate.
tend to phase the scenery out a lot quicker than some of the other stuff. To be fair.
That is very strange.
It is strange. Let me tell you what. Let me Google this. Barbed venom gorse.
I'm glad you remember what they're called, because I have no idea.
Oh no, it's gone. It's the Death World terrain set is just flat out gone.
That is dumb.
It is dumb, and it's a shame because there's some really cool parts on that.
That is
That
dumb.
I never actually bought.
Yeah, I never bought it either. That is dumb.
Yeah, well, maybe that's why they got rid of it, because nobody bought it.
Well, that is a good argument. That we're all like, oh my god, this thing, I meant to buy that. Well, why didn't you buy it?
Yeah.
That is unfortunate. I am disappointed.
Yeah. Oh,
Maybe it'll come back. Maybe they'll
commented.
like reintroduce it. I don't know how that works.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
You know who would know how that works? Flynn would know how that works. Flynn knows all this stuff about
it would.
out of production, back in production. I don't know if Flynn's still with us.
Yeah. Yes, he is. Alex Rush has joined.
Hi, Alex. Welcome.
So, hello, Alex. I don't actually know who you are, but hello.
Oh, he's Alex Rush.
Oh, well, hello, Alex Rush. But yeah, Kajan asked, did anyone see Dana Howell's Tyranid Terrain project? I'm afraid not, no.
Dana Howell did a Tyranid Terrain project? Wow, I missed that.
Apparently so.
I am remiss.
I did not see this. It's funny, because I'm always down with some Tyranid Terrain, but there was one very cool concept I saw for
I'm assuming Dana Howell's
Actually,
Tyranid
that's one
Terrain
thing,
used these pieces we're talking about?
I will say. Oh, sorry, carry on.
I'm asking if Dana Howell's Tyranid Terrain project used these pieces we're talking about.
I don't know. Let me. Oh, crap.
Kajan will let us know.
Let me Google this.
Dana Howell's more active on Twitter, but I guess she's kind of active on Instagram. She's a fellow Canuck Shuck. I don't actually know her, but I know of her.
I've just Googled it. She's done a YouTube video on it, apparently.
Oh.
I can only see the one picture of it. I've got to be honest, it's technically impressive, but I don't quite go on it, perhaps. I'm quite picky when it comes to Tyranid Terrain, I will admit. But, the carapace plates are going the wrong way, unfortunately. I mean, that is very, very pedantic of me. I know,
I've been there. I feel like I've done that. Hold on, let's see if I can find it.
It doesn't quite do it for me. It's impressive. I mean, I can't watch the full video now, because obviously I'm streaming with you, but, she posted it on Instagram, apparently.
I'm looking it up now.
Yeah.
Dana, where you at? Oh, is it the table with the like big spiry things?
Yes.
Oh, okay, I get it. Yeah. So, yeah,
I've only seen one picture of it, so.
I mean, the brood nest stuff is more interesting to me than the spires. I think they look really cool. Well, I guess I could just show this
Picture of it, yeah.
on my phone.
Yeah, the brood nests are quite nice.
Like, these are really cool. I really like these.
Oh, hang on.
And it definitely looks very alien. But the spires don't do it for me so much.
No.
Oh, damn.
Oh, Lathion has apparently found an online retailer still selling the Venom course. The Venom course, sorry.
Oh, nice.
The avian planty things.
So here's the basis for the spires. That's a good basis for terrain. But
oh, the foam.
I would do, yeah. So I'm a nerd in that I've made Tyranid terrain from scratch,
Yeah.
and I sculpted a lot of it. This is an easier way to do it without having to sculpt it all. And then I think she covered it in some kind of insulation foam or something. I don't know. So is this what you people want? You want Tyranid terrain video? I could do that. That'd be easy.
It would be cool to see more Tyranid terrain. There's not nearly enough. I'll tell you one thing. Because when I was first getting into 40k when I was a young'un,
Yeah.
well, I say when I was a young'un, I'm only 25, but anyway, when I was younger and getting into 40k back in 5th edition days, I remember being fascinated by the idea of Planet Strike and of doing Tyranid bastions.
Yeah. Was Planet Strike the what the heck? Apocalypse
it was
type
like
thing?
It was like the siege mode, so you had attackers and defenders.
Yeah.
And obviously the attackers would deep strike in and have orbital bombardment and whatnot, and defenders would be able to set up a whole board of fortress defenses and all that.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a great idea for her. Oh, sorry, carry on.
You're reminding me of something. There is someone, again, I think he's more active on Twitter than on Instagram, Dave Weston. And Dave Weston has done this kind of stuff. He's done the Planet Strike Tyranid bastions. Hold on, let me see what I can find.
Yeah.
And he did sculpting, and I feel like I should admit that he cites the Tyranid terrain that I did as kind of an inspiration for it, but he did a very, very good job. So he is 40kaddict.uk on Instagram.
Oh, I know this guy. Yes, I've seen this guy's work. Yeah.
Yeah, so
really,
this is like
really
a scratch built Tyranid void shield generator, and he sculpted this from scratch. So like that is a lot of work to scratch sculpt something that big. The only thing I don't love about Dave's photo styles is that he uses this very like red background, and I feel like it throws off all the colors. But he has done a lot of Tyranid terrain. He did like a Tyranid landing pad.
Oh yeah, that thing with the horrible, yes, with the really stretched looking flesh and all that.
Yeah, and he did a Tyranid bastion with like a gun emplacement on it. Yeah, so check out 40kaddict.uk. And I was so touched that he was really sweet about like what my old Tyranid terrain meant to him. So I sent him some of my original sculpts that I had cast of my like, because he's got these Tyranid barricades down here, which he said was inspired by the ones that I did from like a pudding cup, and he did a really good job on them.
No, he did.
And he's got like a whole table of this stuff. I think he did a Armies on Parade. Oh, there you go. Oh, why does it? Sorry, hold on. He did a whole Armies on Parade table of Tyranid, like kind of like Planet Strike terrain. So his stuff is really cool.
It is very cool. Also, there's some very funny comments on the chat. Manzak Miniature says they need to bring the spiked testicle trees back, and Borneo, who apparently has just arrived.
Borneo,
says,
welcome.
Says the green balls with the red toothpicks jammed into them.
Yes, the spiked testicles. They were awesome. I love those. That's some good Tyranid
awesome.
terrain.
Yeah, gotta love your spiky testicles. Or whatever. Oh boy. But yeah, for years and years, and obviously as a child, as a young'un, I was a lot more, perhaps over-imaginative than considered in my ideas of how I would. I never actually made any of these things, I hasten to add, but I was always drawing up ideas for them.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good way to go.
I was always trying to think of ways of how a Tyranid bastion would look and work. And one idea I had to try and get around the armor plating idea was, the frag spore mine.
Yep.
And you know how instead of having like segmented plates, it has like little disc-shaped plates, almost like a turtle shell.
Yep.
I think the bastion could work well if it used like an upscaled version of that, so it was almost like a dome with lots of these like turtle shell like panels over it, with occasional ones missing for a gun port or entry sphincter or whatever.
Yeah.
The only problem is I don't know if it would look too far removed from a regular Tyranid at that scale.
Yeah, like that kind of works because it's so small. The like whole like Super Mario turtle shell thing. Um,
Yeah.
but at that size, what I would say is that if you wanted to do it at a larger size, you just have to make the plates a little more detailed.
Yes.
Like you gotta give them
Yeah.
give them more like edges, or like instead of having individual plates, maybe having like some picture the oh, the flying testicle. What is flying scrotum?
The Tyrannocyte.
Yes, thank you, the tyrannocyte. Picture the tyrannocyte and how its plates are. That it's like it's got different modular sections, but each section is like 5 armor plates or 4 armor plates,
Yes.
like you'd expect on a Tyranid head.
Yes. Yeah, well, it's funny actually because I think the Tyrannocyte works much better as the basis for a Tyranid piece of terrain than it does as a.
Oh yeah,
drop ship.
just buy 5 of those kit and just like go crazy making Tyranid terrain out of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. It's funny because I had an idea for the for a Tyrannocyte proxy counter thing.
Yep.
Where instead of being a living drop pod, it's a living drop ship. So
Yeah.
it flies either by an internal gas bag through zoanthrope style psychic levitation shenanigans,
Yep.
or through wings or biojets or however you want your Terran to fly.
Yeah.
And when it delivers its payload, it delivers them maybe either via a Turbigon style underrib sac, or maybe even some like inside its rib cage or something like that.
Yeah.
But obviously, once it's dispensed its cargo onto the battlefield, it doesn't need to carry anything anymore. So you wouldn't necessarily need to model it having still with a what's the word?
A gravid belly or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. So it could be in its empty stage, and then it just floats around like a big Tyranid gribbly gunship in effect, rather than a vaguely testicular lump gun.
So one day when I finally get around to finishing my creature conference project, that's basically what it's going to be, except for it's going to ditch its like transport thing on the ground, and then part of it's going to rip off, and that part's going to float around like a spore mine with giant guns on it.
Yeah.
And that's where I was headed with the Death Daisy, before I sidelined it for everything else.
Yeah.
I like that idea, basically. I like that idea. I want to do something similar.
Yeah.
What's up in the comments?
Hang on, just give me one moment. Someone's messaging me. I just need to reply to them.
Sure, go for it.
Sorry.
Of course.
Anyway, but let's see. Nothing much up in the comments, actually. The only new comment since the green balls and red toothpicks was Hammer saying a UK retailer does have the Venom Gorse in stock.
There you go. Better get on it. I should check in my local retailer. They might have it, but I always assume... See, this is the thing. I assume these things are going to be there, and then they're gone. And it's like, well... But, like, did I really need it? Maybe it's a good thing I never bought it. Because, like, would it just be sitting in my pile of shame?
There is always that, yeah.
They're very good bits, though. Like, you could totally use them as Tyranid terrain. It's unfortunate.
Yeah. Wow, what this? Kajan says, so it's official then. The only one that finished the creature conference is the one you tried to punish the most.
Hey, has Simon actually finished?
I have no idea. I don't know if he's referring to Simon or Marco.
Oh, I think it's Simon. Simon's the one we tried to punish the most.
Yeah, I see. Oh, yes, of course, that idiot start. I realise now it's actually pronounced Demachairon, I think. Demachairon.
Oh, the stream may have just died or something and come back. It did a thing where it's like, you're live. I'm like, wasn't I? Oh, so my phone is getting hot. So we might have to call this soon.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got 18% battery, but it's okay. It's okay. But yeah. So we punished. Sorry, what were you gonna say with the Dimacaron? The Dimcaron?
I was just gonna say, yeah. As hilarious as, and believe me, it is a hilarious name for it. I've realised if we were being technical with the pronunciation, it would actually be Demachairon, which does sound better, to be fair, but...
yeah, that's fine. I always thought of it as Dimacaron, but...
yeah.
I don't really... If we were trying to be fair with that model, we wouldn't have shat on it quite so much.
Well, it's true. It doesn't deserve to have its name pronounced correctly.
Well, in the eyes of Tyranid snobs, like us... We would say yes, but yeah, just I don't know. If you want to know why we hate Dimacaron, the Dim Karen, so much, you should go watch the Tyranid design video that we did, where we spend
Yes.
a goodly amount of time dumping on it, but then we put our money where our mouth is, and we tell Simon dumps on it, and then I challenge him to make it better. And thus was the Creature
Yeah.
Conference born.
Yeah, I think it would have been a lot less cruel if you hadn't actually forced him to use the stock model as a basis.
It would have been so much easier for him, though. Like,
Well, that's
Simon could
different,
sculpt an amazing Tyranid out of scratch. He's done it before. So it wouldn't really
Yeah.
be... the goal of the Creature Conference is not to be like, hey, I don't like this Tyranid, I'm going to make a better one. It's, I don't like how this Tyranid doesn't do Tyranid design for me. Let me show you how I would take this Tyranid, modify it, to be more in line with what I picture Tyranid design being.
Oh, so just a few mentions on the comments. Lathion is unfortunately leaving, so goodbye, Lathion.
Bye, Lathian. Thanks for joining us. I think I'm almost done. Like, I've got this claw to a pretty good place. My phone is dying. It's overheating.
Yeah.
But yeah, check it out. So, crap. I think I'm pretty happy. I'm
also,
just, I'm worried that I'm going to glue these pieces in, and then I'm going to regret it because I have to go in and sculpt under them, and it'll be a nightmare. So I don't really know if I want to glue the other one in. But here is a quick comparison, if I can pull this up. Here's the original sketch.
Two very nice. Two interesting ideas on Tyranid drop pods from Joel. Should be either a burrowing unit that tentacle strikes from below, or a drop pod becomes a chrysalis that emerges as a daddy long leg looking spider that emerges as a super long legged icky thing.
That sounds cool. I like both those options.
It does. Yeah, I particularly like the burrowing idea, but I do have a thing for subterranean units.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've probably seen you have seen my sketch on Instagram of the idea of the Raveners with, because I never liked the stock rending claws on the Raveners just being regular rending claws, and I thought it'd be nice to see ones done a bit more shovelly, like their siding talons.
Yes.
Like, are you familiar with a mole cricket?
I am not, but that sounds really cool.
Yeah, well, it's basically what I modeled the rending claws on that sketch on, but let me, hang on, mole cricket. They're very funny looking things. They're,
with a funny name like that, I would hope so.
Hmm?
I said with a funny name like Mole Cricket, I would hope that they're funny looking things.
Yeah, they are funny, but also slightly terrifying.
As are most bugs.
Yeah, except bees. Bees are cute.
Yeah, they're pretty cute. I mean, terrifying with the stinging, but cute with the looking.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the thing with bees is that unless you annoy them, they're very docile. They they generally won't sting you unless you actually go out of your way to make them angry.
Yeah.
Wasps, however, I hate wasps. Wasps can get lost.
Die in a fire.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Wasps are just evil on wings.
Oh, you're not. So Kajan says I'm terrified of bees and wasps for no reason. You're not allergic, Kajan?
Oh, right. Sorry, it took a while for that comment to load for me on my for some reason. I'm not sure what was going on there. Yeah, I got stung by bees a few times as a kid.
Yeah.
And yet it's always been wasps that have been stung by wasps, to be fair. But,
you have or you have not?
Hmm?
You have been stung by a wasp or you have not?
I have, I think.
Yeah.
The thing with bees, though, is A, they will only sting as a last resort, and B, they can only sting you once.
Yeah, and then they die,
Whereas
right?
Wasps, yeah, and then they die. Whereas wasps, not only can they sting you as many times as they want, they will because they are naturally aggressive little shits. So
what you're telling me is that the wasp is the cat of the animal kingdom, and the bee is the dog of the animal kingdom.
Basically, I would say it's more like the bee is the helpful little dog of the animal kingdom, yeah, and the wasp is kind of like the cat, baboon, hippo of the insect world.
Baboons and hippos are aggressive for no good reason?
Baboons and hippo. Well, baboons are sadistic, vicious little things.
Oh yeah.
Well, not little at all. They're quite big actually, but they're very aggressive. Forest Sprite says, "Hey, don't do cats dirty like that." And
Dude,
she also likes hornets.
They're cats. Come on. Yeah, she's a forest sprite. She has to.
Yeah. babies. But yeah, baboons are really sadistic, especially by monkey standards.
Oh.
And hippos are the most dangerous animal in Africa.
I think I've heard that. Because they're aggressive?
Hippos, they're herbivores, but they can and they will drown you and maul you just because they can. They're extremely territorial, and when they decide they don't like you, they really don't like you.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, if you ever look at a hippo skeleton, they look absolutely terrifying. But honestly, they look all cute and blubbery and adorable when they've got their mouths closed, and then they open their mouths like, oh my god, it's hideous.
Yeah, I've seen one like destroying a watermelon in a video, and it was the mouth was scary. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, the mouth is not somewhere you want to be. Let's put it that way.
Generally, any creature, the mouth is not somewhere you want to be, but
yeah, but some you want to be even less than others.
So speaking of adorable and terrifying all at the same time, I live in Toronto, Canada, and we have an I can never pronounce it right. Amur tiger, which is like this really interesting species of tiger that lives in like northeastern Asia, and like it really shouldn't live there because it's this really cold habitat, but it's lived there for generations.
Okay.
And we have one in our zoo apparently, and it had a cub, and there's this video of the cub playing with the mom, and the mom had the cub's whole head in her mouth, and I'm like, ooh, yeesh.
Oh my god.
Scary, but I guess when you're a tiger, you can do that.
Thank goodness for mothering instincts, I suppose.
Yep.
Unless, of course, you're a hamster, in which case you're likely to get eaten.
Oh, I did not remember that about hamsters.
Oh dear, is it all gone very wrong?
Is it gone wrong? Are things dying?
No, I just heard you say, oh, that wasn't supposed to happen or something.
Oh, no. I didn't know that about hamsters.
Yeah, no, hamsters, if you touch their babies, the mothers will detect the smell of you on them, think there's something wrong with the babies, and eat them.
Oh my god, I remember hearing that about birds, that you should never touch birds because they'll detect the smell of humans on them and kick them out of the nest.
And abandon them.
But eat them, that's entirely different.
It's the same with hamsters, except instead of just kicking them out of the nest, they eat them.
Good lord. Mom's like, well, lunch. Okay, I think on that adorable, touching note, we should probably call it. Because I think my phone is about to self-destruct.
Yeah, I think the phone...
Oh, yeah.
I have detected idiosyncrasies with the audio, so I think it might be time to call the tech priest on the phone.
Yes. So thank you all for joining the stream. I didn't know if this was going to work. Apparently it did. Thank you most of all, Peter, for joining.
Thank you.
I'm glad we could get you in to co-host. This has been great. And I got some actual decent work done for once, because we're not talking about June Sealer and all that kind of stuff. So I'm really happy with this creepy claw and how it's turned out. And now I'm doing the second one where it's deploying and grabbing somebody.
Those claws are fantastic.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm pretty happy. Now I just got to sculpt some stuff on them. But yeah, thanks so much, Peter. And thank you to everyone who joined the stream. And we will be back probably to the normal scheduled time next Friday, likely with Germans in tow. But I just wanted to try something different this week to see if we could get one in, and I'm glad we did.
Yeah. The fifth member of the creature conference has arrived. Technical difficulties.
Oh, here we go.
She has, or he has, whatever
the
fifth member is.
Yeah.
It's technical difficulties. It's just awful. but yeah, the glitchlings have begun to escape from through the Geller field.
So let's shut this down before the glitchlings take over.
Yeah, let's quit while we're ahead, shall we?
Yeah.
But yes. Thank you, everyone. It's been a pleasure to join you all again. Is that a moth in your room?
Oh, so we've got gypsy moths right now. There's like 10 caterpillars going crazy, and they're like, it looks like some kind of weird forest sprite wonderland out there with all these moths fluttering around. There's a screen in front of me, so it was fluttering in front of the screen between. It was like a moth eclipse.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like moths, so that's cool. But
these ones are not like exciting, pretty ones. They're just kind of brown, but they're okay.
Yeah. They're LDD moths now, says Forest Sprite.
LDD.
Name change.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know what means.
So they're not gypsy moths. Oh, probably because gypsy was a pejorative term. Anyway, so yeah, that's
okay.
we're dealing with that here.
Yes.
What does
But
LDD
yeah,
stand for Sprite? For those who want to know about mothy things.
Anyway, yeah, thank you very much, everyone, and thank you for joining us. Thank you especially to Mr. Pink for obviously sculpting along for us.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I'm glad everyone could join.
Yeah, and that Lictor is really looking fantastic. Can't wait to see more work on it.
Oh, they're called the despair moths. Limantria dispar.
Oh, okay. Yes. Oh, I see. Yeah. I must ask though, is there going to be any more work on that Tyrant Guard conversion you've started working on?
1 year.
Fair enough. I know how it is.
There definitely will be, but I feel like I gotta iron out some stuff before I get back to it. Because I gotta get this Lictor done for one client, and then Darth Bob has been very patiently waiting for me to do something for him. So I've got to get that taken care of, which will be the next. Once the Dom is done, I'm going to be doubling up on Lictor and Darth Bob's project. And then post that, I can start thinking about my own stuff. But then I also need to start worrying about Kroot, because I believe that Adepticon is actually going to happen this year, which means I actually have to finish a Kroot army.
Okay.
So
also, one last point before I get off. You know, we were discussing what to call November instead of November because reasons.
Yeah, didn't we say Nidvember?
Hmm?
Weren't we saying Nidvember? Wasn't that the consensus?
I think we were, but I thought of a potentially better name.
What's that?
Tyranovember.
Oh, that's kind of cute.
Yeah, Tyranovember. Or alternatively, if you wanted to do it in January, Tyranuary.
That's hilarious. I like that.
Yeah.
I like I feel like if Lathian was still here, she would vote for doing it in January because November is her Kit Bashember vibe. But I think that she's agreed to share the love this November because she sent me a proposal for the prompts that she uses, and it seemed like they were very Tyranid friendly. But Tyranovember, I like it. I feel like it's a bit of a mouthful.
Yeah.
That's my
only thing. I know we need to call it anyway, but I'm actually going to need... Oh, sorry, my headset's beeping at me. I actually need to get off now anyway, so...
Okay.
It's been a great pleasure.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Just one moment.
Yep.
But yes, anyway, I shall pop off now. So thank you very much, everyone.
Thanks, sir, and I'll chat with you soon.
Okay, cool. See you.
Bye.
Yeah, bye.
This is the part where I don't know how to end my own stream. Ooh. Hopefully this doesn't kill it. Save highlight, share, enable flash, turn off stream. I'm going to press the X and hope this doesn't die. If it did, you saw a special edition version of it. Hopefully this works. Bye. Sure you want to stop.